Let's start episode 235 of the Current Gen podcast. I'm Tim, finally back with Dan and Kyle, all three of us together. The next step is just to drag Jeff away from that stage where he keeps making his millions with his music career and come be a nerd with us again. That's the next step. We'll get there.
I don't know if you guys saw, he actually sent me a video of him in a pool of money, just like doing a backstroke, just swimming in all of his
McDuck
money.
style.
He's bigger than Taylor Swift now. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah. So get wrecked, Taylor.
Yeah. But it is exciting to have all three of us back, and there's a game that we've all been talking about for a long time, Star Wars Outlaws, and we're all very excited to play it. We all are actually playing it and have some thoughts on it. It's the first time in a while since something new is out. That
maybe
everyone on the show.
Final Fantasy VII maybe was the last time.
I mean, if you count last week, both Dan and I had played some Black Myth Wukong and could give our thoughts on it.
Yes.
But yeah, other than that, it's probably been since earlier this year for sure. That being said, there's some other things to talk through. We'll preview the month of September. We've got some news, including the Nintendo Direct, which was not just an Indie World. I misread it. It wasn't just Indie World.
And it was partner. Halfway through, it just ended. And
they were like, that's the last thing we're showing. And I was like, you still have 20 minutes left. What are you doing? And it was like a partner.
Before the next president, I was just like, dang, double dipping.
I think I actually went up an octave and was like, yay! Like when I saw
that. Yeah.
Like
the indies are cool, but I really like the partner stuff because they always announce, like, I feel like all the surprises are always there.
It's really good. But we'll talk about that too. And then other stuff that we are playing. Guys, I've got some No Man's Sky thoughts that I got to share. I've been playing that game a ton.
More space.
And I just got to share some of my experiences there, especially as anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to No Man's Sky. But let's start with the thing that is the biggest game right now. All of us are playing it, Star Wars Outlaws. I think we can all just agree it's a 7 and move on, right?
Yeah, it's a 7, right? What does that even mean? I don't know.
That's
what
does that even mean? We're swimming in it.
I guess.
So Star Wars Outlaws, of course, is the latest game from Ubisoft. This is their second licensed game in the last 9 months, right? Because they did one last December with Avatar, and now it's Star Wars. So interesting that they've got two beefy, really kind of overall production-wise well-made games. I'm not saying they're both like Game of the Year contenders.
They're for sure multi-billion-dollar IPs,
yes,
you know,
huge IPs. And I got to tell you, from my time with the Avatar game and so far with Star Wars Outlaws, I think they're assigning the right people from their internal teams to tackle these. It's people who really like the Avatar universe, and they really I thought they did an excellent job bringing over the visuals and just kind of like the lore of that world.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think that's deep lore or not, that's totally fair. I'm just saying they did a good job bringing that into a video game format. Same thing with Star Wars. Realizing it. Thank you. Same thing with Star Wars. At least initially, I'm still in the, after that whole opening, you see the title screen and then you're in a new location. And I'm still in that area where I'm getting new missions from new contacts and stuff. That's kind of where I am.
The area's big. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that to Dan's point, it feels realized. I'm looking around at all these different little shops and huts and through doors and all this kind of stuff. And there's just so much happening, so much detail. And I absolutely love the vibe of it so far. What are you guys thinking? Especially you, Kyle. What are your thoughts so far as you've dove into Star Wars Outlaws?
Well, I will say it is nice to have some original trilogy love, it is. I know that's like beating an old drum or whatever, but this is a really cool era where outlaws and bounty hunters and the crime syndicates are all running rampant because the Empire is just so busy fighting the rebels. And there's comic books that cover this era. There's a lot of really new era stuff that covers this time period that's very, very cool.
The villain even says it at the beginning, right? There's millions to be made right now.
Yeah, there's a big power vacuum. Let's occupy it, Yeah. And I like this new villain. This villain is completely made up for this game, He doesn't have any existing, maybe later he'll have some existing ties. I don't really know. They keep on kind of alluding to well, his family is kind of important, so we'll see. But
I hope he's related to the Emperor by the end. That'd be great.
I hope it's Darth Maul's brother. I don't know. He's he takes off his mask and it's Savage the breast,
But his
spikes,
his spikes are spongy and they
Yeah. Whenever his mask comes, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be that stupid. Which makes my first point. Not a lot of fan service in this game, and I mean that in the way that we use it today, where obviously there's X-wings and yada yada. there's not a lot of cameos in this game. I thought this game was going to be like a cameo fest. I even seen headlines that going, the only thing Outlaws has for it is it's a cameo fest. The only character I've seen so far that I know is Jabba the Hutt, and I haven't even seen him. He's just on like the
screen,
reputation page or whatever.
The menu screen, yeah.
And then Kira, who's obviously from Solo. She's Solo's girlfriend or whatever. I don't really know. I don't know what her label is. She is the leader of Crimson Dawn, who Darth Maul appointed, the leader of Crimson Dawn. So it's like, but like, you're not like walking down every alley and being like, oh my God, there's Poe Dameron's dad or whatever, like it's just, it's not like that, So I'm kind of liking that we're in a familiar era, but like we're in a section of the galaxy.
Sorry, I just pictured his name being like Joe Dameron. Sorry,
Joe Dameron. Yeah, absolutely.
Big Joe.
Or Mo Dameron. Anyway,
he's a mechanic.
Yeah. So I like that we're occupying a space that we're that's familiar, but also we're not relying on like all the woos and wows of like running into. I know we get to see Han Solo and Carbonite at some point, but like I just don't feel like they're like leaning on that too hard. All the characters you're meeting are
utilizing an entire universe in space and using all of that literal space and exploring other things. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine?
Yeah, right. So it's just interesting to me that they're not relying on that stuff, and like every character I've met so far, especially as you start assembling your crew, are like brand new characters.
I love that, man. I love that. That's what I liked about the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivors. Most of the characters that mattered were new to me.
Yeah, those games did a really good job of not leaning too heavy on, a bunch of stuff we've seen before as well.
But they had them, but everything from your cute little sidekick with BD from the games.
BD, yeah.
And then now you've got Nyx, who's your cute little sidekick. Super adorable. Yeah. So everything that I'm experiencing so far feels like, hey, this is a brand new story. There's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I know what happens next. Like maybe I can predict it at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love kind of, I don't know. I love a brand new story in this realm, and I don't need everyone to have the last name Skywalker or have some big. I don't even need her to save the universe. I just like the idea of her navigating the underworld and taking down a big bad at the end. But who knows?
I think they set her up pretty well, because like the very first like couple lines that she has, like, Nyx, I'm going to give you money. She's like, I got it. She's very like, I could take care of myself. Leave me alone. Like. Yeah. Everybody around town hates her. She's like, God, you owe money to everybody. God, you're such a piece of shit.
She seems like a real like young whippersnapper who really doesn't get what's going on, and it actually the voice actor does a really good job of like reflecting that too. The way she speaks is a lot of like uhs and hmms and pauses.
There's a lot of like someone like talking to you like you're a professional, and she's just kind of like, yeah, I've heard of that before, and she obviously she hasn't, but like she's just kind of going with it,
Yeah.
I like that. I like her a lot. She's very. I mean, yes. Is the archetype brand new? No, she is a Han Solo like girl character. You know what I mean? Yep. But like, I think the archetype is good enough here. It's being utilized and executed on well enough. Where I'm just like, I believe she's like this self-sufficient badass who's just like kind of green, but like kind of knows what she's doing and like can get out of a situation pretty easily. Yeah, and I like all that stuff. I think they set her up pretty well. And I love going on dinner dates with Nyx. I think that's like the cutest thing in the entire world. Yeah, we all just like sit there, and like it's more than just, obviously it's like a quick little like quick time event or whatever, but like it's a thing that you can equip on Nyx to kind of give it a buff too. So it's like there's everything has a purpose in this game, which is my favorite thing, is that like, hey, I got this thing in an Imperial compound, and it's the only place I could get this thing, and now I can upgrade my like blaster. So it just feels like everything you're doing and picking up and experiencing kind of feeds into getting a new tool, which is like now in your arsenal. And like, I don't know, everything feels purposeful with a lot of intent, and I have been liking that a lot too.
Have you guys tried pointing your gun at Nyx yet?
Oh, I was going to ask that.
So funny.
She or he plays
if you are listening or watching and haven't done it, it's really cute. Just do it.
Yeah, it takes like a second to register, but just like, kind of point it at him, and then
it's super cute.
It's very cute. Yeah.
Which is, I know that sounds dark. Point your gun at him. It's so great.
But like, shoot your little buddy. Yeah.
Nyx just does a little trick for you. Even if you shoot, like you can't actually shoot at him, and the trick still happens. But anyway, so I think the starting location. This is this is not to criticize other Star Wars things that have come before. I was just glad to not be like on a desert planet. I'm sure at some point maybe we will.
No, that's all right. Yeah,
but it was nice to start on that racing planet from episode 8.
Canto Bight. Yeah, it's the big casino planet. Yeah,
the casino planet.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, Canto Bight. Okay. Yeah.
I recognized that raceway like right away. I was like, oh, this is from Last
Jedi.
Thank you, Last Jedi. This is from episode 8. But yeah, so I liked that starting place. It kind of, honestly, it reminded me a little bit of a Assassin's Creed vibe with the town tightly packed in, and how you running around, even doing some of the roof jumping as you're escaping at the beginning. I was like, hey, Ubisoft made this. All right. I just had that kind of vibe to it, which was totally fine.
Which I will say, we're 3 guys who like Ubisoft, right? Like, that's kind of weird. Yeah. Like, I feel like somebody on the podcast should not like Ubisoft games, like...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you say for the most part, but I guess my meaning is that like there are some people who just don't like Ubisoft. Like I'm not even talking about like the haters who are just like, I just hate the hate. Like they just don't like that
the formula,
that style or formula or anything like that. But it seems like as long as it's done right, the 3 of us can and will enjoy an Ubisoft game.
I love Ubisoft.
It's kind of like comfort food, really.
I agree with that. Yeah, there's a DNA to all of these games, whether it be Division or even Ghost Recon Wildlands or any of those games where it just kind of feels like an Ubisoft game, and there is a comfort in that. I totally agree.
It'd be interesting to look back and see. Me, I let my lists. This summer has been a little slower on the new game front, so I'm all about like, let's do tier rankings and lists, and it's just fun for me to kind of look back and do all that stuff. But now I'm like, I wonder which company has had the most game of the years for me over the years. It's probably Nintendo off the top of my head.
Probably, right? Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be interesting to look back and see which company's done the most. I don't know if Ubisoft even has one. As I'm thinking back, there's been a few that are up there.
No, if you're talking about quantity, how many games have I played and enjoyed? Like they might be kind of up there because I do intend to enjoy like an Ubisoft game like every once in a while.
How many of them do you think are at the top for that a given year?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe at the top. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey was close. Origins was also excellent.
Yeah.
The Splinter Cell games maybe would fight for a spot back in the day. It depends on the year. But anyway, interesting to think about. But I so far I really not only dig the vibe, but the visuals are amazing. I'm playing it on PS5, and I think it looks
solid.
I think it looks really gorgeous.
It looks good. Yeah.
It doesn't quite hit like I'm playing Black Myth Wukong as well on the PC. That
might be the best looking game maybe ever made, though, right? That's what everyone's saying.
But that's where
we're focused.
I still haven't played it yet.
That's going to be my point. Yeah, the timing is a little weird because I think Star Wars Outlaws, being as objective as I can, I'm like, this game looks really good. Their snowdrop engine is great. Overall, it works really well.
The areas are big, so you have to kind of start doing that
draw
like,
distance
math in your
really
head.
Good as you're like speeding along on your speeder. But yeah, there are certainly. It's hard not to compare it with something else you're currently playing. It's not fair. I know that.
Well,
it's hard not to.
When I try to think, like, especially the last few years for open world games, like, I mean, in an open world game, it's tough because it's just there's so much in there, literally in there that you're packing in. But like something like Forbidden West, like that game is huge, is pretty huge, and it's like holy shitballs, this game is gorgeous, like for the size of what it is. But also,
and Burning Shores even more so.
But that Decima engine, like I don't know what the heck they injected that thing with, but like
I don't know. It's the same thing that ran Death Stranding. Like that game is like one of the best looking games ever made too. So it's just like
that game looks
what an engine.
By the way, side note, a couple of old games, if you fire them up on PC, they might be the best looking games I've ever seen. Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2 running on the right setup. Like I have a new system
those games
using.
Are both like 10 years old and like they're unparalleled.
They look unbelievable. Red Dead Redemption 2 is now 6 years old and it's unbelievable.
Art direction sometimes matters.
Yeah. Anyway, I know we're getting off track. What do you guys think so far about the stealth mechanics, the combat, the kind of the moment-to-moment gameplay? How are you liking that? Do you like? There's not too much climbing so far, in my opinion, but do you think there's too much of the Uncharted style? Like, hey, everything's yellow that you can jump to. Like, thoughts on those?
Some yellow stuff. There is some yellow stuff.
Yeah, I hey, you have to do that stuff, or I want it. You know what I mean? I don't like just standing there going, what do I do here? Like I do like some kind of indicator.
You need something.
Is it silly? Sure, but we've also been doing this for I don't know forever now.
Yep.
So I'm fine with that.
When someone comes up with a better system, let's do that.
If you come up with something better, I'm open. But right now, this is life.
That's right.
I think the mechanics make sense for her. I mean,
I think the mechanics are really great. I think she's a crack shot. You know what I mean? So when you do get into a fight, you're squishy, so don't get shot. But like you, where the reticle aims, it shoots. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of math you're doing in your head of like, I gotta figure out how to shoot these people when I'm being swarmed or whatever. You know, and you have access to grenades. You can pick up their guns. Like I like all of that, but the game is a stealthy game. It wants you to take it slow and knock people out and do all that stuff. And Tim, I think you and I already kind of agreed with this, where it's like it's got some of that Assassin's Creed jank. Jank might be mean. Just Assassin's
Her jumping's
Creed.
Not great.
The jumping has killed me lovingly. So many times at this point.
To me, I lovingly call it jank. I really don't.
Like it is familiar jank. I don't think that's bad, but like it's not like the tightness of Splinter Cell. I just replayed all of Metal Gear Solid. It's not that, you know what I mean? The headiness of Metal Gear. It is like Shadow of Mordor, stealth, where it's like you crouch, you're basically invisible. You could be standing in someone's like total peripheral.
Enemies have no peripheral vision. Enemies have no peripheral
so it's like it is easy, but like there are moments where the game is auto fails, if you get seen, and like those can be kind of frustrating if like you're hurrying or if I've already done this a couple times. Let me just like hurry up and like you're just going too quickly, so it's like you keep on screwing yourself over. But those are user problems. You know what I mean? Like take it a little slow, realize that there's some kind of a Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft jank and just you take that into consideration, whenever you're going through a situation.
Well, also your standing with various syndicates will change if you go in stealthy and aren't seen. It's going to be a much different outcome on your standing than if you go guns blazing and they all see you and know who you are. They're going to hate you now. So
the Pikes hate me. Fuck those guys. They sell spice. They're dirty people. We gotta get rid of them.
Dirty.
They're wrong.
They're a problem.
They're a problem. They're illegally selling drugs.
We must eliminate them.
I'm totally in terrible standing with them. They've sent a hit team after me. I don't know how often that comes.
Whoa.
You haven't even seen them. I've heard
cool.
That
so there's a bounty on you.
Some sort a bounty on top of the story bounty that's already on
the death mark.
And I'm a big Kira fan. She's like so great, like in the comic books and stuff like that. And she's Han Solo's girlfriend, so she must be pretty cool. So I'm trying to like align all the way, which I have with Crimson Dawn. But there are many moments where a game like you have to do this for somebody to progress the story, and you're gonna screw over like your favorite like group or whatever, but there's always ways to get it back up. So it's like this. It's a really interesting.
Seems like
system.
They want you to balance it, but you can do whatever.
Yes. You don't want to be in terrible standing with anybody, and I'll be doing a lot of work to like kind of repair my relationship with the Pikes. But right now, we got to get these guys off the street.
Well, like if you look at the rewards, though, like I think so. I don't know. It almost actually feels like maybe it's easier to work on each one at a time.
Yes.
Because like if you want to max out one as quick as possible, which I kind of feel like the Crimson Dawn is like the easiest at first because I think
the game kind of leans you because like your very first handler, like first couple handlers are Crimson Dawn people. Right. So it's like the game. There is kind of a guiding factor in that or whatever, but like you start making decisions pretty quickly. Like, hey, I think I'm going to align with the Hutts, or you know what? I just picked up some intel. I can sell this to any faction by taking it to a shop or whatever, you know? And like there's just a lot of ways to fix that. And I don't know if the quests are radiant. I'm not exactly sure. But like there is a lot of like just contracts, like where you're just like, hey, I'm going to go to a contract broker. I'm just going to pick up an infiltrator mission or a smuggler mission or something like that. And I don't know if that's like Skyrim style, just random, like, hey, go here, pick up. I don't really know, but that's kind of what it feels like. It's like you're gonna get a smuggler mission. It's gonna take you to somewhere random. You're gonna pick up that thing. Now you can't fast travel.
It'll be a familiar set of goals, and you'll just do
exactly. You're gonna hit a couple different parameters. Maybe you're doing it for a different, faction, and that's gonna like up or raise your thing. And by the end of it, there's kind of always like a twist where it's like, hey, now that you're at the end, you got the MacGuffin. Do you want to finish this job, or do you want to sell it for a better price to somebody else and screw over the person who gave you this job? So there's just a lot of different ways to like manipulate that system. I don't think it's very deep. It's a pretty shallow reputation system.
But it's giving you choice, though.
But it is alive. You know what I mean? So I don't mean that as a negative thing.
It's forgiving. I think having it shallow, it makes it more forgiving. Think of some games where it's like, make this decision, and then next time you play an entire playthrough, you can do the other decision if you want. Like some games are that hardcore about make a choice.
I don't feel like I've been locked out of anything.
Yeah,
yet,
this seems much more like, hey, we're gonna be pretty forgiving, so you can kind of get a little bit of everything. They can be mad at you, and they can love you.
I screwed over that Gorlak guy like 1,000 times, and he keeps on like, "Hey, I got another job for you." I'm like, really?
Like, man, you're a glutton.
You are just a glutton.
Now, I gave him the intel right at the beginning, and I'm already in good standing with them. Like out of the gate.
A lot of their shops are really good first of the game, so that's good because
you get
that's the other thing is.
Too.
If you don't, that's true. Yeah, if you're not in good standing with them, you don't get to shop at their shops with their exclusive stuff.
See, I like that kind of stuff, man.
It's cool, man. Yeah, again, like there's not a lot of depth, but there is a lot of range, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I do.
It feels like the Star Wars Underworld. That's what the kind of game.
Right. And these are like the big players of this time. Like there's not a lot of other big factions at this time. It's the three main ones and the couple ones that they made up for this one. And I do like that reputation system, even though it might not be. I think people thought it was going to be deeper. You know what I mean? I don't think they were talking about it too much in the marketing, so it left a lot of people to like let their imaginations run wild. Which that's hard to control. But I'm sure liking it though.
what else people were expecting. You kind of wonder.
I don't know.
Like, what are you
anyway,
like I remember when we were talking about it, I just kind of was like, yeah, just the basic notion of like giving me like the choices in situation, which is exactly what it does. And it doesn't need to be some super in-depth thing. It's just simply like there's that one mission where that person, you go meet some person off on a cliff, and then you kind of go into this little area. Yeah, where there's the animals all corralled in, and then she comes and then she comes walking into the room, and she's like, so like blah blah blah, and then you actually have to like double cross the so that was actually cool.
Do you want to stick with the huts, or do you want to sell the information to Crimson Dawn? It's cool. Yeah, I didn't really like someone pulling a gun on me in that mission. I'll tell you that. So
absolutely. But yeah, I mean that to me is like, I don't know, like it doesn't. I mean, you can make games that are even more complex with that sort of thing, but to me, this is like, it's fun. It's giving you like, in my head, I didn't really necessarily think that person was going to walk in the room and put me in that situation. So it's giving me something like a choice. So I think that's
maybe the choices are a little binary, but the choices are very there. And I feel like every mission has some sort of like, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay the course here, or do you want to like fuck some people over? And like, it's always option B. It's always option B. You screw people over. It's all about you. You're like Han Solo, racked up debts all across the universe. Do the same. Be Han Solo.
Kyle's doing his Han Solo run.
I don't want anybody. I want people to be like, yeah, she'll get the job done, but boy, she will run off.
She will stab you. She will stab you in the back.
All right, my connection's going funky. I'm gonna try to leave and come back. You guys keep talking about it.
We're having all sorts of problems.
Oh no! Wait. Now it seems okay. You guys both went real robotic on me. Can you hear and see me? Okay.
I can hear and see you. All right. Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep going. Let me know if that changes though. You guys both went real like staticky and robotic, so I knew it was me because it wouldn't be both of you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always something.
It's always something. So I would say, as a fan of stealth games, this one does a pretty good job with it. It's pretty straightforward. They give you an ability to kind of scan, so you can monitor to see where people are, and then sneak up behind them.
It's not overpowered, though.
I would always remind people if you, because I had a lot of people like, aren't you finding the stealth sections like hard? And I'm like, well, how much are you using Nyx? They're like, not at all. I go, yeah, it's hard for you then. Use Nyx for everything.
Right. You can use it to distract, to attack, to open and close things. Like he can do pretty much everything.
Nyx is the character in this game. Vess is just kind of there, So
it's true. I will say it does the thing that movies and games and shows have been doing this for years, and it just is what it is. But it is kind of Kay isn't like a big, beefy, strong person. But somehow she has a right hook that can knock out like a 6'5" muscle man, and that's just
with armor and helmet.
With his armor and helmet, he can just kind of like give him a kidney punch and then punch in the face, and he's out. He's not even just like temporarily stunned; he is done. Like you can throw him in the grass
until you load out of that area.
Yeah. So little things like that part of me is kind of like, at what point will games try to make it a little more believable, whether you're female or male? Like, I think they need to make it look like, use your gun. She has a gun. Like, if she at least did the like
that does feel she hit people with the bit of their gun.
I literally have multiple times she's made a fist, and I'm not kidding. My kids and I were playing it last night. They were watching me play it, and we were all dying laughing because she literally bonked some enemies on the head. She took her fist and she just kind of goes like bing on the back of their head, and they're done. And they're like, "Did she just bonk them?" I'm like,
"She is so strong. She works out all the time."
That stuff does remind me of Uncharted, though, where it's like you're shooting, and then you're running up to someone and 3 hitting them or whatever. So that stuff does feel very Uncharted.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In terms of how it feels, I think it's equally as silly in both games.
Or
they're shooting at you and you're just mad dash running to them and like I'm gonna square you so bad. Like,
well, Nathan versus 1,000 pirates, that makes sense, right? So.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. My favorite thing is that Nathan Drake, just to get a couple of artifacts, will kill literally 2,000 people.
Sure, absolutely.
But he's the good guy, everybody.
Yeah, and has no PT at all. He's just like, I sleep really good at night. I sleep soundly.
He has Elena. He
still has his quips. Everything's still lighthearted and fun.
Yeah. I make the jokes so my soul doesn't get crushed.
Exactly.
Yeah, but those are always just funny things that just make me chuckle. They never actually bother me, so please don't misunderstand. No. They never actually bother me.
No, they are laugh-inducing. Yeah.
Especially in
even giving the character like a tool or something, like some kind of stunning tool or.
Yeah, something electrical shock, something. I don't know. Whatever.
Something, but like, it's not the end of the day. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not like.
Yeah, who cares?
I think they saw Han Solo punch somebody out one time with a right hook, and now every smuggler / outlaw, like they have to, because that's even Nathan Drake, like your smuggler, outlaw, thief, or whatever. True. I just feel like the template is always Han Solo, and Han Solo can one punch anybody. Right. Is that silly?
Of course.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones can one punch bad guys.
It's true, maybe it's a Harrison Ford.
Maybe that's why his name. Maybe that's why his name is Han Solo. He only needs one punch.
Yeah,
only one punch.
He's the first one punch man.
Yeah, Han Duo. Han Duo doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, can you imagine if Kira showed up with him at that stand? His name would have been Han Duo. It'd been Han and Kira Duo.
That's a good point. That's a good
dumb part of that movie. God, so stupid. Anyways,
woo!
We're having
fun. Outlaws is a good time. I am having fun with it. It's just a nice kind of blockbuster popcorn flick video game, basically. Like that's kind of my experience with it. It is not super shallow, but it's also not incredibly deep where I'm overwhelmed. Like Black Myth Wukong is a little overwhelming, and you have to roll up your sleeves and dive into it. Not because of the systems being super deep.
It's challenging.
It's very, very challenging, and you have to figure out, okay, what's my strategy here? Maybe it's a Souls-like experience where you're like, I gotta be ready. I gotta be like on my game. And this is a game where I can kick back in my recliner and just have the controller and go play and have fun in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So very different. And that's okay. I enjoy both experiences, to be honest. So yeah, overall, enjoy it. I don't have enough playtime under me yet. I think I'm about 2.5, 3 hours of total playtime so far. So I don't have enough playtime to tell you if I think the scores are fair. I mean, honestly, the high 70s on average to me isn't bad. Some people are like, oh, I guess it just sucks now.
Yeah, I did say that earlier. I caught myself going like, well, it has a 76 on Metacritic. And they're like, that's not good. And I go, okay. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's
is it not
in the eye of the beholder. I always thought it was. I mean, I know we have a joke of swimming in 7s. This is a high 7 though. You know what I mean?
Okay, 7s are like good, right?
Put it in perspective. Black Myth Wukong, a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's a game of the year contender. It's amazing, right? Mm-hmm. That's an 81. Those are 4 points on average.
We're talking 4. Yeah, that's insane to me then. Yeah. Yeah.
So either
Black 81, Myth Wukong, really?
Okay.
Yeah. And 76, maybe I've had a couple crashes, like I've had some screen tearing whenever I'm leaving orbit, by the way, the ships are so fun in this game. It's so easy, but like it's so fun. I love the ship combat. I love like exploring in space and stuff like that. All that stuff is very, very, very fun. Also, when you like light jump for the first time to a new area, like you hit both your joysticks up and it says punch it, and like, it just feel good. Super feel good there, yeah. So I do like all that stuff, but maybe like, that's an accurate like scoring because of those early day, kind of rough edges or whatever. But like, I hear that problem with the deleting your save data is like really, really small scale, but became new, so it became really, really big scale. But it was like such a few amount of people who were actually infected by that. So I don't know. I haven't had too many issues. I haven't had any like Skyrim style. There's the thing's not in the satchel, and I can't progress a mission or anything like that. I haven't had any issues other than those couple of crashes and a couple of screen tearing moments, but like nothing really else. So if people are having bigger issues, maybe the 76 is good, but like I'm not much of a numbers guy, but like an 8 feels good to me. Like a low 8, maybe not even a mid 8, but like a low 8,
Yeah.
But I don't know. This game feels like it's made for people like me, like just like, hey, do you want to do a Star Wars thing? Like, and this is a Star Wars thing. There's so much things of Star Wars-iness like in this that like I just will absolutely eat up. So of course I'm really enjoying it. That's probably no surprise to anybody on Earth. But
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a pretty competent game too. I think there's enough there that makes it interesting to play. So.
And Dan, are you feeling the same way about it? Like, it sounds like you're enjoying it.
No, I am. Yeah, for sure. I like Kay. I like her back and forth with Nyx. He's very adorable. I like their back and forth. I did actually a little. I found there's like you can look for treasures. They're like specific treasures that he'll
freak out
sniff
if he's near something he likes.
Yeah. So I did like that little thing, and that was really cute.
And that's kind of like the Ghost of Tsushima Follow the Fox stuff, which I really like.
Sure.
Like it's just like.
Great.
Like Nyx will start acting weird, and you just need to follow it to like this thing. And then whenever you get said thing, you find yourself on this like beautiful backdrop, and the game knows it, so it like slow pans up and like zooms out and shows you a very Ghost of Tsushima-esque, like, hey, look how cool this area is. And every time I'm like, that's really cool.
That's cool.
It's Star Wars, and like they did a really good job of making up all these areas. Like the Savannah planet's totally new. Like they've made it for this game, and. So yeah, I mean the
new location.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good vistas. There was one point where like the sun was setting down, and I was like on the edge of a cliff, and I kind of like looked out. I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. This is pretty nice.
Yeah. Apparently, Tatooine has both suns, so you can watch both suns set.
See, that's cool. That's a nice little detail.
It's almost kind of like they care. The Luke shadow.
Yeah, you can go to Luke's old moisture farm and see the dead charred spot where the bodies used to lay. So.
Oh my god!
Yikes!
Wow!
Yikes! Yeah.
There's been no wind, no sand has covered that up. It's still
charred. Not at all. Yeah, no, it is still out there completely.
By the way, speaking of open critic scores, I'd mentioned this one last week, but I wanted to mention it to you too, Kyle, in case you're interested. Not that you need another game. Don't get me wrong, but if you're ever in an indie mood, like let me try out something really good, Tactical Breach Wizard.
Oh, okay, I've heard of this. Yeah.
Super fun, and it's reviewing at an 87 on average right now, which is very, very good.
Well, I guess it's a Cody contender.
Yeah, it is. It is a really fun little like
sorry, everybody.
Turn-based. Anything under 90. Got it.
It's not a 90.
Not a 90.
Nope.
Hey, we're the dumb,
I've heard good things about this game. Though,
we're the dumb podcast that has named multiple mid to low 80s as their game of the year.
I know. Yeah, right.
We're the dumb dumps
hearts here. Yeah,
that's fine.
No problem.
I'm happy. Okay. Yeah, the problem's with us.
I'm happy that y'all are mad. That's the
I'm happy that you guys are angry.
Now we'll talk about this one more in October when Dan actually plays it, and I might play it too at some point. Squirrel with a Gun is out on PC in early access,
so
that's available.
I actually booted it up because
did you go get it?
I got a free code for it actually.
Oh,
so this one streamer, because there was this other site. It's called Rainmaker something that streamers can basically log into with their Twitch account or if you stream on YouTube, whatever. And you can like request codes for games that they have on there.
Okay.
And there was this other site that she had mentioned, and I was like, okay, let me go on there. And there's just kind of like more random games, not like so many high profile games. Mm-hmm. But I went on there the other day and I saw Squirrel with a Gun, and there was no like requirements, because some of them are kind of like, oh, you got to have like this many concurrent viewer average, and it's like, all right, fuck off, like it's like 50, 100. It's like, well, I'm not that person, like I'm not getting, but yeah, no, Squirrel with a Gun, they were like, hey, listen, codes, there you go. So I got a free code for Squirrel with a Gun.
Streamer with the code. You're a streamer with the code.
Streamer with the code. So I booted it up and like basically just did some of the tutorial just to kind of like get a feel for it, dude. That game, I have a feeling it's going to be really fun. It's dumb, but it's like really funny.
Yeah.
Like the
like
opening,
Goat Simulator funny, or no, I'm not saying it's a physics based game, but like, is it that kind of stupid?
But like the moment that you get the gun is amazing. Like it's just the way, like, because you got these like Men in Black type of agents, or like Agent Smith actually type of guys that come into the room, and like the dude goes to like, he literally puts his dukes up like he's about to fight a squirrel, and then he trips and falls, and the gun comes out of his pocket.
Of course it does.
Like in front of the squirrel, and the red lights are going off, like because like obviously the squirrel broke in, and the camera's like zooming in on the squirrel, zooming in on the gun, zooming in on the squirrel, and it's just like it's just really funny because it's like over dramatic, and then he just picks it up and you start shooting these dudes. But yeah, I feel like if it's going to be like just a really dumb, fun game to just kind of pop in and play a little bit here and there.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, it's a squirrel with a gun.
Squirrel with a gun is a game that exists.
I don't know what much else there is to say, but there's definitely some Matrix-y type of like kill moves. Like if you stun them enough, like the little yellow circle appears in front of the agent dude, and then he'll do like the freaking like Matrix, like jumping up and like hitting him in the face, and then like blah blah blah, just shooting him in the face. Like it's just absurd. It's very absurd.
Yeah. Well, it kind of is exactly what it looks like then. So literally, you are a squirrel with a gun. So there you go.
They gave you what is called
Visions of Mana is also out, and we'll talk about some news around that studio, which is kind of a bummer in the news headlines section. But you guys played the demo for this, right? Or at least Dan, I know you did.
Yeah,
you both played it.
Yeah.
Okay. I checked it out. Yeah.
Are you gonna get the game based off of that or anything like that? Or are you kind of?
I never played the original, so I have that downloaded.
Isn't this a new one? Isn't this?
But like this is it's I didn't play the one before this. I guess that was on the Switch. So I see. Yeah, I would like to play that one.
Well, this one is it's not like a sequel to any of the other ones.
Isn't that what we tell you all the time, Dan?
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a sequel.
Interesting.
You don't have to play the first one.
Listen,
wow.
Listen here. It doesn't even play similar to. Well, I play similar enough. It's an action RPG, but
Yeah, they're both action RPGs. Yeah.
Hey guys, guess what? This one also has a 77 average on OpenCritic for whatever it's worth.
So it's garbage.
So it's bad. Real bad. Disappointment.
That feels bad.
Guilty pleasure.
I think the overall vibe on this game is pretty positive. People are enjoying it. It seems like.
Yeah, I'm getting it for my birthday because I have like 3 games right now that I'm playing. So I was like, hey, wife, you can nab this for me. She's
It's a September birthday, right?
Yeah. So in a couple of weeks, I'll have it.
Nice. Okay, well, let us know what you think when you play the full game here in a few weeks. There's a game out called Gory, Gori, Cuddly Carnage, which looks insane. It's like this 3D platformer where you're legitimately, like, in a very bloody way, destroying all these horror enemies. These unicorns and other like stuffed animal looking things.
Oh, with the cat. Yeah, I saw the trailer of this. This looks absurd. It looks just
absolutely absurd.
It just looks absurd.
But it exists if that's your thing. Gundam Breaker 4 is out. I saw that on the list and I was like, hey, I got a couple of Gundam type fans, I think, on the podcast sometimes.
Huge Gundam fans. Yeah, huge hater of hero shooters. Huge hater.
That's fair.
Oh, is that what this is?
Such a huge hater of them. So
boy,
it's a big no for me.
That's Kyle's heart being torn in two right there, guys.
Yeah. It'd be like making a puzzle like Gundam game. It's like all puzzles. Come in and do like really complicated puzzles.
And the Gundam's just standing on the side, like doing cool poses. Yeah. The puzzle.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it would be.
You don't even play with the Gundams. They're just there watching me fail at puzzles. It's so embarrassing.
Yep.
Well, there's 4 of them, so clearly people enjoy these.
No, yeah, this is a really big. Are these free to play too? Are they? I forget. There might be a free to play one that I'm thinking of, and then there's this one. I don't really know, but this is a big series, and I hear it's a very competent hero shooter if you are looking for something of that nature. So,
okay. I know they're very popular, so there's that.
Gunbreaker 4 on Steam is $60, so it is not free to play.
I might be thinking like Mechbreaker or something like that.
Yeah, I know that. I think there is a free to play, there was. It might have actually shut down.
I thought
right now it's got a 80% positive from Steam reviewers, which is cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Guys, get those numbers up. You got to pump up.
What a terrible year for games.
Down for sure. Yeah.
Got to pump up those numbers. All right. So last but not least, we have Castlevania Dominus Collection, which was announced during the Nintendo Switch partner showcase. So a little spoiler for that chat here in a little bit. But it is out. It released, like, they were like, hey, it's out later today, which is really cool. I don't know if there's a best place to play this. So these are DS games. Okay, these aren't like your standard Castlevania games. And so part of me is like, well, it would make sense to get them on the Switch because there's touch controls, maybe, unless those are totally removed.
That would have been the bottom screen, which
I don't think they. I don't even think they like. Yeah, I don't think they like. You can touch the screen or anything like that. Yeah, even in handheld mode.
Okay.
So now you to manipulate that bottom screen, if you will, it's on the side of your screen. Number one. So it's your screen is squared, and that's what you're playing. Yeah, it is not.
I don't
good
like
looking.
that.
And then your bottom screen is like the whole third of your screen or whatever, and you have to toggle a button to like do any of that stuff over there.
That can't
and
be
like
right.
and then
right.
I am describing a nightmare because they literally did this in the worst way possible. Like I don't understand why. Like I feel like you could make a lot of these games where it's just like, hey, we're just not going to have the touch stuff in that. And you just
I see what you're saying now.
You just need to like load that.
It's like everything from your stats to the map to everything is on the side, and then you have your gameplay window. Interesting.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that just be the pause menu? Like you pause and that's what comes up.
That's kind of what you're seeing on the side.
Yeah. But then there is like stuff like you're doing magic or you're doing you're selecting things and like that's all on the bottom screen. So like that screen always has to be there because you are always like toggling to it and stuff like that. Can I just to keep it P? These are the 3 like best Castlevania games ever created. They just are. Those are like that's not even in my opinion. These are like top rated like ones like in the whole series or whatever. Dawn of Sorrow specifically being like one of the best ones, maybe the best one ever made. It retained its value on DS forever. I think if you still want to pick it up, it's like $40 or something like that. Like it is just it is a very, 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 very good game. So you've never played these games. They're traditional enough where you are just like Metrovaniaing your way along or whatever, but just like having to toggle, it might just be enough to piss people off like while they're playing it. I know for me, I'm just like, well, this isn't gonna like be too distracting right now. I don't have a lot of longing to go back to it, but like maybe you get used to it. I don't know, but
one of these have like a little like thing. I thought you had to draw like do a little shape for.
Yeah, that's the third one, the Portrait of Ruin or something like that. I think. Okay. Yeah, I think, or maybe that's the second one.
Is that still in this, or did they remove that?
Yeah, that is, and like you have to like draw. So what you do is you'll toggle to that, and your right stick will be your finger or your pen, and you have to like
pass.
These games are so good. Like you couldn't figure out some way to, I don't know, not do it this way. It just makes me so mad.
So I feel like playing this on Switch and especially handheld is bad. Playing it on a big TV is fine in my head because like at least the actual game part would be like still a decent size on a nice big screen TV, right?
That's true. Yeah. I still,
it's not ideal, but
it's not ideal. And again, when you just look at like how the screen's laid out, it's kind of off-putting. It's just kind of.
I know there's no like clear visual upgrades except for the Haunted Mansion or Haunted Castle one, whatever that one's called. It's like an old arcade one they brought in with some updated visuals. The other ones virtually untouched, although I'm sure they look a little bit crisper on better screens. With the advanced collection, of course, you could kind of toggle some updated visuals if you want, or look back at the GBA one. But I will say this, Kyle, the average on OpenCritic, including from Nintendo Life, and I usually like their reviews for Nintendo games, they gave it a 9. The average is 92 right now.
Again, it might just be something that bothers me, but it is a 9, so we have to respect it. It's Game of the Year. So
Game of the Year.
Yeah, maybe the toggling bothers people less, and I don't know. I don't know. I'll play a little more of it. Maybe I'll change my mind. But like, I was immediately like, oh, no wonder we haven't tried this yet. Like bringing DS games to the Switch. Like, no wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing it, and it's not great. But
no matter how you slice it, it's aesthetically not great to look at in terms of how the screen's laid out or whatever. I actually think for DS games, they actually still look pretty good. Within mind that it's a DS game, obviously. I'm not saying you're going to turn on that game being like, wow, look at the art design in this game, but they still look pretty good.
Well, I will say that just to quote this Nintendo Life review, which I think is really... I don't know, it gets me excited to try this game. It says, now 16 years later, we can confidently state that Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia represent the franchise at its absolute peak.
Yeah.
While Aria of Sorrow and Symphony of the Night may well be held in higher regard by many, gosh, we were eating good during the DS era. So they were just saying, like, those three they represent the franchise at its peak, even if other entries were the best.
It is still, like, that's like we're all chasing that. You know what I mean? Like that is like the industry is chasing that. We have so many Metroidvania games now because so many people grew up playing DS Castlevania games. So
yeah, for sure.
So thanks, Nintendo. Good job. Thanks, Konami. You always do us good every single time. You've never screwed anybody over.
You've never led us astray. Appreciate it.
Not once.
All right, fellas, we're gonna jump.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna jump into a September gaming preview. So September of 2024 holds a whole bunch of interesting releases. Ever since I would say about a week and a half ago, we've started to see a cadence of like, oh, here's a big game. Oh no, here's another one. Oh crap, next week there's 2 more. Oh no, and that's on the 13th. Oh my goodness, like you start to it's starting to roll, So it's time for us to preview these, and what I want to do is for each one, we will choose one of 3 things: day 1, wait and see, or skip. So those are your 3 options. Nothing else in between. Day 1, wait and see. And a wait and see could include like, I'm going to get it on a sale, whatever. That's still a wait and see, right?
Yeah.
So day 1, wait and see, or skip. So here we go. I'm trying to highlight the notable ones that we've at least heard of. At least one of us has heard of or talked about. If I miss one, feel free to interrupt me and we'll circle back to it. Starting on September 2nd, we've got Sumerian 6, which I actually played the demo for. And it seems like it needs a little more work in the oven, just in terms of like the technical, because I had some weird glitches and the controller wasn't working quite right. But it could just be the demo build, right? Sometimes the demo build is an old build of the game. But it's a cool vibe. It's a World War II setting, and it's kind of an isometric. Think like the Pirates Gambit game from last year that was really cool, or Death's Gambit, I think it was called. No, not Death's Gambit. What was that one called? It was a piratey one. And I think that team actually, like many other teams, went under because it didn't sell super well. But it was a really cool little stealth pirate isometric game. This kind of reminds me of that, but it's in a World War II setting. So it's kind of cool. But you guys probably haven't even heard of it, though, huh? So you're a skip for now, at least.
Skip for me.
Yeah.
You're talking about Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew?
Shadow Gambit, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yes. It's that type of vibe, but in World War II. And yeah, but the characters talk to each other. There's a lot of good dialogue and stuff. So it's interesting. But for me, I'm at the moment at least a skip. Unless, I guess I could be convinced later. But right now, I
didn't even know. Yeah, I don't. I'd have to look up. This is not ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, what about September 3rd? We have a number of games coming out that I think are interesting. One is the casting of Frank Stone, which I believe is essentially a standalone experience in the Dead by Daylight universe.
It's
right?
Daylight,
sure.
But it's like Supermassive, right? The Supermassive help them with this or something.
Yeah, they're the ones that like developed it. Yeah,
I get that. That gets my foot in the. That's a get it later maybe. That's
a wait and see. I'm a wait and see on this one.
I am a huge Supermassive fan apparently, and I have to come to terms with that every time I think about like the Quarry or one of those games where I'm just like, oh yeah, that's like. Those are the best,
Yeah. Dan, what are you? Are you day 1 on that one? You like that IP?
Most likely, because I mean, obviously,
you like that. You like Dead by Daylight.
I do like Dead by Daylight. My wife definitely likes it even more because she still like plays it consistently. And I know she like is excited for that one. Like she's brought it up. So that's probably is that actually coming out on Game Pass or?
I don't know. I didn't check.
I'm curious.
It's on PS5, Series X, and PC, but I don't know if it's on Game Pass as well. I'm not sure.
Let's see.
There's no way to know. Don't look it up.
There's no way to know.
It's not possible.
Also that day is Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. I'm a skip. Anybody else?
Why is this game even real? It looks like a PS2 game or a mobile game.
Why is it not just DLC?
I feel like it gets brought up in our chat a lot, and I'm like, what are we talking about this game for? So no, it's a major skip for me, and that's not like being a Harry Potter not guy. I don't know. It just seems like a really.
It looks like a mobile game to me, although it is a paid game. It's not a free to play, but it looks like a free to play game.
It looks like a free to play game.
They should have just put it in Hogwarts Legacy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I will. I will commend them to be like, hey, there's a vacuum here.
Yeah,
like we should make it, but like don't make it like this.
I agree. There's another game coming out. I'm just highlighting it because I think you guys should try it. It's called, I think it's pronounced Bakeroo. Super cute. You don't have to give me a fear or wait and see whatever, but go check it out. Bakeroo. Okay. It looks really unique.
Oh,
what is it?
Somebody, someone in one of the Discord groups that I'm in for one of the streamers that I catch shared this. It's like what was that series? Was it Geomon?
Yes.
It reminded me of that.
Goemon.
Goemon?
Yeah, Goemon.
Goemon, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
like a
so it's kind of like that.
Whatever.
But it's got this really cool visual style, and it just looks like a cartoon. It's an action adventure platform.
What is that coming out on?
On PC. Hang on, where did it go? And Switch, PC and Switch.
Yeah, it's got a really sick look to it.
It's Baker U, so Bakeru. Baker Bakaru, probably pronounced Bakaru, but I don't know.
Yeah, it has like a really great aesthetic to it.
Yeah, it looks like very wholesome, fun action adventure game. But anyway, that one looks cool. Speaking of wholesome and fun, let's actually get back to our answers of these three options here. Oh, hang on, my video started. Hang on. Okay. Sorry. The Bakaru video started on my headphones, so I couldn't hear anything. Okay. Astrobot on September 6th. I am a day one on this one. What about you guys? Are you wait and see or you skip?
What are you, Dan? You go ahead.
I'm not not day one, just because I don't know. Like, it looks really fun. It does look really charming. I don't know if I want to drop like what is it going to cost? Like,
I think it's 50
bucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll definitely try it out at some point. I want to play it because it did look really fun.
I just want to say I do think this thing is going to be the next big thing for Sony. I honestly do.
I hope so. That'd be great.
I think it's going to hit really big. And Gaston, I love you. I don't give a shit about mascot games. I don't like them. I don't like platformers. I barely like Mario, like traditional Mario games.
Sure. Now you're breaking
like 3D
my heart.
Mario and stuff like that. You know, like I play them because like they're classic and they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and I will play this. Tim, if like you come on the podcast and you're like, this is the best of this type of genre, like I will literally go and buy it that night. I'm not anti these games; they're just not my type of games.
Totally get it.
You know,
these are great to have in the living room when family's around and kids are watching.
Oh my gosh, yes!
It looks
just
makes
so
it
cool. They said 50 different worlds with like all this stuff going on. Like I couldn't be more of a cheerleader of this game.
It is $60, by the way, so it's not.
I just know for me, like I'll play it for a couple hours. You know, a lot of these games, I mean, like I'll play for a couple hours. I'll be like, man, this is really charming, and then I'll never think about it again. And it has nothing to do with the game. It has everything to do with me.
But it does look like a great celebration of like PlayStation. Like it's
Crash Bandicoot's going to be in it. Like Xbox let them use like Crash Bandicoot in a big way, apparently, or for some big thing. So
that's exactly. So that's really cool. You know. Definitely a good like just kind of collecting everything together of like, here's the history of PlayStation, and then there's this little robot and we're running through these levels, and here's all these little Easter eggs and homages. And
I've said this before about Crash Bandicoot, and I'll say it again about this. These are like video games, and they just are like, they're level based, they're skill based, they're
it's the kind of thing that I
have
played
so
on
much reverence for
day.
these games. I just know that they're
on a sick day,
staying home from school on a sick day and playing an action platformer, like that kind of is like my. I don't know. That triggers core memory, you know. All right, let's jump to September 9th. Now we're into the second week of September. So that first week, maybe not a ton of super heavy hitters. Fair enough. Now on September 9th, we get Space Marine 2 dropping for PS5, Series X, and PC. Kyle?
Pass. Hard pass. I'm not buying this.
Hard pass.
Garbage. I'm buying this garbage. This might be my most hyped video game of the year. So, I'm very excited for this game. I have a crew lined up. I have 3 people already. We're going to go through the whole campaign together. We're
PlayStation?
Play all the multiplayer together. Yeah, PlayStation, yeah.
Nice.
And I think a lot. I got Rob and a couple people like to buy the first game and play this game. I got people excited for this game, which I'm really excited about. Like that's a really hard thing for me to pull off. To be like, because I like everything. So when people are like, Kyle likes another game, like no one really ever takes me seriously, you know. But like I got people to actually play this game, the first game at least. I got fans on board, and I'm really excited because I feel like this game, it won a lot of Gamescom awards, like because a lot of people got hands on with it, calling it one of the best games that they played there. Visually really cool, and the Tyranid system where they all are coming at. I think they call it the swarm mechanic or whatever. It's supposed to be like technically one of the greatest things of this generation of how they made that realize and how it's all real and actual data on the screen. It's not just like painted backgrounds or whatever. Like these things are moving towards you like an ocean. God, I'm so excited for this.
So you're a wait and see. Okay, got it. Dan, which
I'm
one?
I'm a pass completely. I'm not gonna play.
So is this like because I haven't actually seen gameplay in motion? Is it like Gears of War-esque or is that not?
I recommend playing the first one, Dan, because that actually will tie in.
It goes on sale on PC for like $10 all the time.
I think I got it for like $3 on CD.
Is it only on PC?
It, yeah.
Is the first one only on PC?
You could get a disc version of it on Xbox 360 or PS3, but yes, it is.
For your PC, get it. It's going to look and run the best.
Yeah, and you can just plug in a controller, and it is a perfect game to play with a controller.
It actually looks pretty decent.
It's a good-looking game. Even that game is even still.
I didn't realize it was that old, so that's why in my head.
12, right? It is a. I mean, how do you call it? Like, you are moving cover like a Space Marine, but like it is a cover-based like shooter. You know, a little more with some melee stuff, but it's a little more actiony. It's a little more you're running up to them and killing stuff. Like, you're an unstoppable killing machine. With a really, really, really cool story, you know.
Nice.
They got a lot of good voice actors for this game too. I'm so excited, and they added all these extra online modes too.
We even had a couple guys in the group who I know are more Gears guys, like Rob Rinaldi, for example, who dove back into Space Marine, finished it, and loved it, and now he's hyped for Space Marine 2. So
there you go.
I think that's great.
I think aesthetically, like the actual like visuals of it, because I was looking at screenshots just now. I'm like, dude, this looks freaking bananas.
It's one of the. It's another one where it's like, oh my god, like this is next gen.
I need to. So the reason
is next gen.
The reason that I am a wait and see on this is two reasons. One, I want to finish the first game because I want to see that story through and not carry over to the second one.
I would agree.
And number two, I'm convinced this is going to hit a sale, and I just got to keep an eye on how much money I'm spending on games because it's been a lot. So it's those two pieces. It is not a wait and see because I wonder if I'll like it. I know I'm going to enjoy this game. It's just a matter of prioritizing it. But it's on my list, but not day one for me.
Yeah, that's definitely a wait and see. It looks fantastic.
The next day we have a couple of smaller games. The Elder Scrolls Castles hits mobile. Either one of you going to try this?
I'm sorry. Did you say mobile, Tim?
I did.
Sorry, what is it?
I did.
Oh, is this Fallout Shelter but Elder Scrolls?
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
I'll try it, but I have no interest in mobile.
All right, day one for Kyle. Day one for Kyle.
I don't want to. That seems
special edition pre-order.
I'm a skip. Yeah. I'm a skip on that one.
I don't know. I like Fallout Shelter fine, but like I don't like mobile games like at all. So like this is not a thing for me. I don't think. Yeah.
It's gonna be a no from me, dog.
There's a cool little side-scrolling indie game that I played the demo for this week called Elsie. Comes out on the Switch, PS5, and PC on September 10th as well. Very Mega Man inspired. Everything from the way they have a scientist who created these 8 kind of like androids that are now going to be your bosses, and all you see is the silhouette of them at first. You know, so it's very Mega Man-esque. And you are Elsie is the last android she created to try to like stop the rogue androids, kind of a thing.
There's good art, good pixel art.
Yeah, and I played the demo of it. It doesn't play amazing, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's Mega Man basically gameplay.
Right.
So it's got like Mega Man X more so in the gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Good. But yeah, because I like X more. Yeah.
I like X more too, and you and I are not real Mega Man fans, Dan, because we like X more. So
yeah,
it's so like anime and dumb. I'm like, yeah.
Right. I can. You're telling me I can dash around and wall jump? Yeah. I mean, geez, how terrible.
Better character 0. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, for me, I'm a wait and see on that. It didn't. Some demos sell me immediately, and some are more like, maybe. Especially if the reviews are amazing, then I'll circle back to it.
Staying on the wish list, but you know.
Yeah. There's a game coming out called Towerborn, which is actually a Microsoft exclusive that no one is talking about, coming on September 10th. It looks kind of like a Castle Crashers-like game. It's got a really cool art style to it. If it turns out that this game does the multiplayer thing well, and I don't know how, I just have to do some
the 32 or whatever, like the big.
No, I don't think it's
different. No, that's the 38 hero. That's something
different.
This
is more like game. It's a couch co-op, like 4 players on a Castle Crashers
This
style.
was all over Gamescom as well. Like people got their hands on, and I think people really like this.
Yeah, so if this reviews well, and if it turns out like, hey, this is the couch co-op game for me and my family to play, then it's going to be a day one. It'll be super fun.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So if it's like Castle Crashers, it's a wait and see, but it's a yes if it's a execution. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
My wife and I are always looking for games like this.
Yeah, Towerborn looks like a lot of fun. I love the style of it, and boy, do I love Castle Crashers. Like, I want more of that kind of game.
Sir, that might be a perfect video game, right? Like that's
hey guys, guess what?
Like that might be a perfect video game.
It's
coming to Game Pass.
Towerborn? Nice.
Yeah, because it's an Xbox and PC game. And it's published by Microsoft Studios. So there you go.
Okay, well there you go.
September 11th, we're going to have a couple of games that have nothing to do with remembering what happened on 9/11. We have Mirthwood. So I played a demo for this week as well. It is a Stardew Valley in a medieval setting, and the art style the art style is not my favorite. It's like the Pentiment thing where they're cutouts that are moving around and they're animated. So there are times when the art looks cool. I just don't like that style. It just doesn't work for me.
Man.
It's kind of like watching the old Monty Python movie when they cut to like the little guys animated running. That's funny for like a 5-second clip, but after a while,
I don't want to watch a whole movie of that though. Yeah.
Or play a whole game.
It's got that art style, but it's definitely like a farming sim with RPG elements, and everyone you talk to, you can build a relationship with. Yeah. It's that kind of action adventure RPG life sim kind of a thing. So definitely something Dan should take a look at if you haven't looked at it yet, Dan.
Yeah.
I was looking at the way, how you described the kind of like paper cutout sort of.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that if you like the gameplay enough, the art style is not going to it doesn't kill it. Like there are times when the grass looks really cool and the horse that you're riding at one point, I was like, looks kind of nice. It's just not my favorite style, but gameplay can always override an art style issue for me if it's really fun to play. So Mirthwood is interesting, but for me right now, it's a skip. That could always change in the future, but I'm skipping that one. I assume for Dan, it's probably at least a wait and see because I know you like those kind of farm sim games. But
I'm looking at I was just pulling up a video real quick. Yeah, like the animations, it reminds me of like a Flash game.
Yeah,
like basically, which is not
it harkens
great,
back to a time I remember fondly, but I don't know if I want to go back to it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize. Yeah, it's like this video is labeling it as a Bethesda-styled indie RPG, where I'm like, okay, all right.
There's a lot of conversation choices you have to make, a lot of decisions you have to make.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that sounds interesting.
It's got that medieval fantasy take on Stardew Valley, basically.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. All right. What about Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, which is finally actually releasing? I know that got delayed a couple of times.
What date is that on?
That is on September 11th, coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and believe it or not, Nintendo Switch on September 11th.
James Gunn wrote this game, so I don't know if anyone remembers that. But yeah, James Gunn wrote this game. So
all right, so I can just tell you, I'm definitely a skip. That's never been.
I've played this game already, and I have no interest in playing it again. I love Suda 51. I love Grasshopper Studio. Like I think that's the same studio. I like all that weird Japanese stuff. I don't care about replaying this game at all.
That's fair. Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I never played it back then, and I'm fine.
Great streamer game, but it would because it's silly and sexist and dumb and
sure. That's kind of. I think that's why I was never really like, oh, okay, so she's like a cheerleader, and it's supposed to be like, oh, boobs hanging out.
She's got her boyfriend on her. She's got her dead boyfriend.
Oh yeah, she's got the zombie like boyfriend.
And it's silly. Like it is.
See,
like
I never thought
Shadows
it was
of the Damned and stuff like that.
I never thought it was nearly as like exploitative as so many other games back then. It felt more like a tongue-in-cheek, almost parody of.
Yeah, no, I would say it handles the sexuality as well as a Bayonetta game. To be honest, where it's like this game isn't like. Where you're like, you're put off or whatever, or
I think she's like truly like the confident hero of the game. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, she's very confident. She's a very fun character. I mean, these games are fun, but like, I don't know, man. It's $50. I don't know how much it's gonna be, but
it's too much.
I'm fine.
More than zero, it's a skip. Yeah. All right, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. These titles are getting super long, and I looked at the list. There's also another Capcom fighting game collection with SNK and stuff later. Like it's all confusing to me, all the collections they're releasing. But as a non-fighting game fan, I like the retro feel of looking at Marvel vs. Capcom games. Like, oh yeah, I remember when those were out. Cool. But I'm not going to play this. So I'm a skip just because I'm not a fighting game guy.
I will get it on a sale. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is like the greatest fighting game of all time, even though I suck at that. Like it's not my favorite. It is. I suck at it, but it is
very
fun.
bad at those.
It has literally one of the best menu songs that's like an 8-second loop.
I'm gonna take you for a ride, Dan.
You can, and then in return, I will take you for a ride. So.
But then I'll take you for a ride, and that's literally the whole song is just that line over and. But you never get tired of it. I don't know. I get mad when we're done choosing characters. I'm like, I was just getting good. It was just getting good, guys. Yeah.
I actually real quick, I found I don't even know what it was. It's like a musician, but then they also have like this whole like they have this whole like jazzy band that's like accompanying, and it's literally they took that 8-second clip. And they made an entire song out of it and like added lyrics to it, and it's actually fantastic. It's like awesome. It's amazing. I'll share it in the group, but it's like it's super jazzy and it just works. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
All right. Well, what about Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, a long kind of delayed and awaited game from a tried and true driving sim game. It's been around for a long time.
First time studio doing this game.
Doing an old IP.
This studio went and did The Crew, the original studio of Test Drive.
Okay. Got it.
And so the new studio is doing this, and I think a lot of people are worried.
Yeah.
Is kind of the vibe.
The delays always give you a little bit of okay.
Yeah, and I don't know how good the beta was.
There's been multiple delays.
You know, I don't know. I'm getting it day one. I love Test Drive. I love these games. But like, if the embargo breaks and it's like 4s and 5s, I'm not buying. You know what I mean? Like, this is a game where reviews could change.
You're probably a day one. Yeah.
No, I'm a day one unless I hear, because I did watch a Gaming Bolt thing, and I think they got their hands on it, and they're like, this game ended up shaping up pretty well for a first time studio and yada yada. And I'm like,
it's gonna be 70. It's gonna be 77. Okay.
It's gonna be 77. Yeah, it's gonna be 77.
Dan, what do you think on this one?
I mean, I don't play racing games super often, so yeah.
At least for now. Again, all of those could have changed. Someone could convince me to go play one of these that I've said skip on.
What's cool about Test Drive, the newer series, is this is literally what, and it's not as good as Forza Horizon. That's what I'm about to say, but like it created that mold. Like Test Drive Unlimited, like the MMO came out, and then like Forza Horizon started. Like they took that DNA and turned it into what we all now know as like the funnest, best, racing series.
Forza Horizon 4 and
it's
5
it is the best version of that. So I don't think people who are not racing games need to like look elsewhere, because like you're already playing the best one. So.
Right.
Agreed. All right. On September 12th, there's a game coming out called Wild Bastards. I encourage you to go look this one up. Do you guys remember the game called Void Bastards?
I do. I played that. Yeah.
Same devs.
Oh, cool. Same look, kind of. Yeah.
So same kind of look, kind of wild. It's a first-person shooter, kind of with this very colorful, artistic, kind of a cel-shaded-y, cartoony look to it. But it is they're called a roguelike strategy shooter with heart-pounding FPS action, mod management, and tactical campaign. But it does look pretty fun. But again, it's got the roguelike thing, so it's not for everybody in that sense. But
I really like the way it looks, though. I like these games. I like still like them studios trying to do like cel shaded, like in modern day, because it's just like it looks extra sharp now, and it just looks really cool.
Well, not everybody's doing it like they were in 2010s.
Yeah. By the way, the Sumerian
it feels like cool again.
The Sumerian 6 game I talked about earlier that I'm probably holding off on, that does have a little bit of cel shaded look to it, which is really cool. But yeah, Wild Bastards does look like fun. I'm definitely a wait and see. I remember trying Void Bastards when it was on Game Pass. I'm pretty sure it was on Game Pass.
That's where I tried it. Yeah.
And I thought it was cool, but also like didn't hook me enough to keep playing.
I played it like an hour. Yeah.
It had like a cool combo of like creepy and exploration and some upgrades and stuff, because you were kind of going through these abandoned ships basically, if I remember correctly, and you would get attacked and you were trying to salvage stuff. And anyway, now No Man's Sky does that, so I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
All right, September. Oh, so are we all kind of at least wait and see on that one? Sounds like.
Yeah, I'll wait and see.
Bastards?
Yeah, I think it looks cool. I think it looks cool enough where if I hear enough good things, I'd give it a snag.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see. I'll wait.
What about for Evo Tinction on September 13th? Do you guys even remember this game? Do you remember Evo Tinction? Does that ring a bell?
No, I'm looking it up now, and I'm like, I don't.
It is. It has potential to be, of course, like an absolute bomb. Like, who cares? Like, this is dumb, but it could be like, it looks like it could be really impressive visually. It could be one of those AA games that kind of looks almost like a AAA game. You know what I mean? It's a third-person hacking and stealth game, and you are trying to stop this rogue AI in a futuristic research facility using a combination of hacking skills to overcome robotic threats to uncover the secrets that hold the key to humanity's survival. It's from Spike Wave Games, who I don't know what else they've done. I clicked on them, it just took me to their publisher's page, so I don't know.
Throwing an S in there would have made it roll off the tongue better. Evo Stinction. Evo Tinction sounds weird. I know that's like a weird nitpick, but like
Evo Tinction. I don't know why it's called that. Yeah.
This headline is saying Evo Tinction is a love letter to Hideo Kojima in the Metal Gear series. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks kind of weird, like a surreal sci-fi.
Yeah. I like it. It looks sharp.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it delivers, if it runs well, because some of these screenshots are really pretty, and if the story is kind of as weird as you're saying, and I read that too, that they're saying, oh, it's got some Metal Gear influences in its storyline. I'm like, how? Okay, interesting. So I am definitely a wait and see on this one. I remember when it was announced a couple of events ago, and we kind of mentioned it in passing with all the other games that were announced at a thing. So the name stuck with me, but I just didn't remember what it was. And so now that it actually is about to release, I am very curious to see what people say. It says that I would like it because I played Starfield and Horizon Zero Dawn. That's what Steam's saying.
Okay.
Sure.
Those are cool pools. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? So there you go. There's Evo Tinction. I'm a wait and see just because I don't know enough about it yet. And kind of like what Kyle said earlier, if it comes out to 4s and 5s, I'll never think about this game again. But if it comes out and it's getting even above 7s on average and to the 8s, then I'm going to be like,
right,
I should probably take a look at this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I am with that one. All right, then we get to September 17th. We finally have my next day one purchase, and that is the Plucky Squire coming to all current platforms: PC, Switch, PS5, Series X. What about you guys? Are you day one? Are you wait and see? Are you skip?
So I just had a really asshole rant about not being into like mascot games, and I feel like this falls into that. And like you can forget everything I just said about that because this is absolutely day one for me. So
it looks so cool.
I think when it comes, I mean, it's so unique looking, but like the concept of it is unique, and I just love the idea of it, and it gives me really big like maybe solo It Takes Two vibes, you know?
Yes.
This is such a day one for me. Yeah. So like I again, there are exceptions to the rule, and for this, it's absolutely that for me. Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, it's gonna be me on my birthday playing this game.
Hey,
it's coming out on my birthday.
Nice.
I've been so excited about this since the first time. Plucky Dan. I've been so excited since the first time because I remember seeing that very first time and him popping out of the book and then running around in the room. I was like, dude, this is fantastic. I love this. Like,
I will say, I saw some clips from because they had it on the Switch Direct. It doesn't look as good on the Switch, which is no surprise, but this is the kind of game that I want it to look real crisp and clean. So this is either a PS5 or PC buy.
I'm buying it on PS5 for sure. Yeah, I want all the bells and whistles. I want that big, dumb, like bright looking game all of my TV.
I want it to be crystal clear. So I'm sure on a little Switch screen it probably would look fine.
I bet the OLED screen like really makes the colors pop. But I bet it's a little fuzzy too. I bet you'll get some rough edges.
Same. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm probably on PC for this one if I'm being honest because I got this new rig and it's really slick and I like it and I'm playing a lot of stuff on there again. So all right, then we jump to September 19th and we get to Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. I'm a skip on this one, not because I don't like the series, it's just not something I'm interested in revisiting. Like of all the old IP that I'll take time to go back and revisit, that's not really on my list, but I have no problem with it. It's just a skip for me. Dan, what about you on this one?
This is a heavy wait and see just because, I mean, again, like you were saying, like money, figuring out what I'm buying, what I'm not buying. But like, I never played this one. And I've always been curious about this game because I've just always heard wonderful things that it's just
so you do want to play it.
I very much want to play this. Yes. I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
What about you?
This is a day one for me. This is Capcom at its silliest, at its funnest. It is when everyone was trying to do like really like dark and weird games, whenever the Xbox first came out, this game was just like a weird shining beacon on the Xbox with text way too small to read on any given TV. I remember that being a big problem when this game came out. But
that's all they're remastering is they're making the text.
Yeah, they're making the text bigger. That's it. Everything else.
Or they don't do that. They actually make it smaller. Make it even smaller.
It's a sharp looking game too. This looks like they call it like a reboot equal. I don't know. Like it's almost like half remake, half reboot, half remaster, half. So
I gotcha. Okay,
that's cool. Yeah.
I'm probably a skip on this next one called Enotria: The Last Song. I remember playing the demo for it earlier this summer, but it got lost in my brain in the sea of other demos I was playing during all the different Steam Fest stuff. And the fact that it didn't stand out to me. It's another Souls-like. It's kind of got the Steel Rising kind of vibe to it. Sure. Maybe a little bit of Lies of P as it's trying to do that kind of French Renaissance sort of. I don't know, man. It just didn't stick out to me enough, and I just didn't really like the systems that they had. But I just don't remember it super clearly. So I am definitely a skip. Could be bumped up to a wait and see if it drops on sale, and if others tell me, "Hey, this is the next really awesome Lies of P style game, but that's not the vibe that I've gotten from most of the previews I've read.
I feel like once a year we get a Souls-like game with a guy in old doctor's mask or something like that.
Yes.
You know? And
last year it was that one with the A.
Thymesia, or was
Thymesia. Yes.
Thymesia. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. This is such anti-Kyle stuff. Like, this is such a skip for me. Yeah.
Skip. Yeah. Dan,
if you say
Souls-like,
I'm just out at this point. So
that's totally fair.
Unless this gets like 10 out of 10s where I'm like, all right, it seems like they really like sharpened it up and it's like really amazing and that's great.
I feel like the amount of times like a new game breaks in that genre is so rare. That's why stuff like Lies of P like hitting really hard
and like
I just don't think this is going to be that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. September 20th we have Frostpunk 2 hitting PC first. I don't know if it's technically in early access, it might be, and then it will eventually come to Xbox. I think it's going to be on Game Pass too. I'm just not sure if that's September 20th or if that's down the road, but it will be on Game Pass at some point. Now, I've talked about Frostpunk 1 before. I liked this game. I thought it was a really fun kind of city building survival game. You have to make decisions for your colony. Everything from, do you let them relax more or work harder? You're going to drain them. They're going to hate you, but they're going to have more warmth for the winter. Like you have all these like choices to make. To kind of try to, it is a little stressful. Some people hear that and they get stressed out. They're like, that sounds like work. I'm like, hey, I get it. It's not for everybody, but it's got a really cool vibe. The whole setting of like the whole earth is frozen and you are barely surviving as humans. So you have to try to keep things warm enough. And then when the winter months really hit, when a real blizzard comes, you better have stacked up enough coal and stuff for everyone to live. It's very intense, but I liked it.
It keeps you on your toes.
I'm very much looking forward to Frostpunk 2. The only reason I'm not a day one buy is because I'm just going to wait for it to be on Game Pass. If it's on Game Pass, then I'm a day one, technically. But I'm not going to spend money on it, I don't think. I liked it, but what I've seen of 2, it looks like it's an improved version of the first one, but not super different from what I can tell. So, but what about you guys? Either one of you going to play this one, you think?
Skip for me.
I always really, whenever I see the first one, I'm like, I want to play that because it just looks so freaking cool.
It does look cool. I remember that first one.
Yeah.
The concept of it and aesthetically, like what's going on there looks really cool. But yeah, if it's on Game Pass, I'll give it a try at some point. But I don't see myself buying it. No.
Fine. Do either one of you like city builders? Is that your thing ever?
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
I couldn't tell you the last time I played one. I don't dislike them though. I wish you know what and this is not a city builder, I understand, but like Civ is like a series I've always wanted to get it. Like I know if like I could just get someone to sit down with me and be like, this is how you play this game. Like I would be so addicted to something like that. But it feels like for a lot of these things, I'm always on the outside looking in.
They must have like solid tutorials now built into those.
I'm sure they do, but like you'd have to be sitting. You know what I mean? Like that's a full engagement. Like which like again that game needs, and I don't know if I have the attention span to give it. But boy, I used to play Nobunaga's Ambition back in the game. So when you're talking about Frostpunk, when you're making decisions politically about like, yeah, you're going to be warm, but you're going to hate me. Like all that stuff is so intriguing to me, and all the stuff that comes with city builders and setting things up, so intriguing to me. But I'm sadly always a little distant away from them.
Like, I love Age of Empires, which I know is not just straight up city, but like there's more going on there. But like
that's another one.
Love that series.
I would love to get into something like that, or even the new the mythology game that just came out. Age of Mythology. Yeah, I would love to play something like that.
You know, I really want them to do another Star Wars, but it doesn't have to be just RTS where you're just battling. Like I kind of want to just build a Star Wars city. Like give me a city builder.
Let me build Coruscant. Yeah, or something. Like that.
I would love that. Yeah. I would love that.
That would be rad.
All right, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see the quick opening trailer for this next one because I didn't know about it until I was looking through this list. So check this out. This looks so fun.
The karate.
Is it too loud?
Oh
wow!
Oh shit!
It's a beat 'em up.
That's unexpected.
Oh, the original one too.
Go through 1 and 2, I think. Maybe 3.
I'm in. I'm all in. Day one. I love beat 'em ups, dude. Yeah, this is just like beat 'em ups are my favorite old school style of gameplay.
So they put like the powers and the kicking
and the music. Yeah, I'm in.
Kicking Johnny off his bike.
Look at Miyagi. It's 4-player co-op. God, get out of here. I love this. I love this era we're in right now, where everyone's like, "Hey, let's get nostalgic properties and make 4-player co-op games out of them." I love it. So in.
Is it? I wonder if this is the River City Girls like dev.
It has that vibe.
I don't know. I don't see their name down at the bottom there, so no, I don't think so. But it is very much of that nature,
So yeah, I didn't even know about that till I was looking at games that are coming out in September.
I think they're doing the Power Rangers game, Dan.
I was like, a Karate Kid game. I don't know about karate. Looks like a dumb mobile game. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks awesome.
I'm so happy you put this on my radar. I'm so buying this game, dude. Yeah.
Karate Kid Street Rumble comes to all consoles September 24th.
It's
unless it was September 20th. I think it might be September 20th. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying it's Odaclick Game Studio, and they have a website. I'm not seeing anything else. I'm not seeing the Power Rangers on there, so this might be.
Okay. Maybe it was distributed by the same distributor.
Sure.
Not the studio. Yeah.
Okay,
got it. Yeah, I've never heard of Odaclick, but it's published by Atlas. No, developed by Atlas.
Right.
Wait, what?
I think
that's the
it might be
old
published.
school one. That's the old school Karate Kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, from the NES, there was an old Karate Kid game developed by Atlas.
Atlas has been around since since Nintendo. How did I not know that? Yeah,
that is crazy. Anyway, okay. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. I thought you'd appreciate that. A nice little sleeper out of nowhere indie game with a fun IP and a fun game.
So cool, fun. Yeah,
the music was great too, wasn't it? Wasn't that music?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I loved everything about that. That was so great.
It was like 80s chiptune music. Like that's fantastic.
Perfect. It was perfect. All right, there's a game coming out called Ara History Untold, kind of Civilization-esque, a little bit city building-esque, coming to PC. It's been talked about a lot because it's a Game Pass, kind of Xbox exclusive as well. So that hits on September 20th. Anybody considering that one or not so much?
No, not so much, but I do laugh whenever... Remember that quote from a while ago where it's just like strategy games, just people aren't interested anymore? Why are there 30 coming out this year then?
There's so many.
I think it's doing fine, everybody.
I think they're doing great.
Guy
also,
said that quote.
The number of DLC packs that Crusader Kings 3 has puts out tells me that they're doing quite well too. Like they keep putting out new DLC.
Full of shit, I feel like it's a really good time to be into games like
I think
that.
We should
have
stop
a lot of
listening
avenues.
to people. Oh, okay, so that is actually Karate Kid was September 20th. I was looking at the wrong date. So Ara History Untold is September 24th. The same day, we have two other pretty big games coming out. One is Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which I was probably gonna just skip and not worry about, but I played the demo. I am definitely a wait and see, maybe a day one, but definitely a wait and see. Like maybe when it's on sale, absolutely going to grab it. I had a blast with that demo. So what about you guys? Either one of you going to play this one?
This is my dead right. I've played this game before. I don't want to play it again. I strongly encourage everyone who hasn't to play it.
Fair enough. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, we never finished it. I brought up before how like the camera was just wonky, and I can get used to that stuff and kind of deal with things like that just because I play more games than my wife, but she gets more frustrated with those sort of things. But so we never finished it.
Okay. But you'll get it, you think?
Perfect. We got the second analog now. You can control the camera.
Yeah, I think all those problems are going to be gone. Thankfully.
Yeah. So day one for sure. Day one.
Highly recommend the demo. Which it plays.
These games are so cool. Like they're very very cool.
Very charming.
It's got a very dark but cool story. Like it's like that Fantasia side of Disney a little bit, and it's really fun. I thought it was.
But you got really Oswald in there, who's like the forgotten character, so he's all like, I'm mad at Mickey.
But it's good writing. There's also one of your little helper gremlins. Name is Tim, so that makes it amazing.
Oh, well, Tim.
So you got that.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Game of the year. Also that day. Now this is only on PC early access, so I guess it doesn't count as the official release. But Greedfall 2: The Dying World.
Game of the year.
PC early access. Now it's going to come to all consoles. I think they're hoping for later this year. But for right now, just PC and early access. So I don't anticipate this being like a fully polished, totally complete game anyway. But in early access,
I hope that doesn't stop people. You know what I mean? Like this is a weird game to put into early access because it is a AA studio. So it's like this is a really good way of like showing people that your game is not. You know what I mean? I don't know. This might dissuade a lotut of people. Very interesting. If they went this route, but I like the first Greedfall.
Yeah,
or it could be like Baldur's Gate, and they get the feedback that they need, and then it really sharpens it up.
We've seen it happen
really
before.
I'm for the early access at least. I'm a pass. That's not a pass forever, but for the early access,
same as me.
Pass. Okay. All right, guys. A few left. We got September 26th, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. I am a day one on this one. What about you two?
Day one.
Yeah.
This will be a wait and see. Not because I don't want to play it. It's just
we learned last year you don't like Zelda, so
we did.
Right? Yeah, no, I hate Zelda. I play so many hours of it, but I just never finish it.
You hate it. No, to me, this is the kind that makes sense to kind of wait and see what are the reviews, what are others saying, and is that the kind of game I really want to play? Totally understand that. Did you play the Link's Awakening remake?
I did. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the look of that game. It looks fantastic.
Nintendo, like, they just don't miss, man. And they're on a great batting average right now. You know, with
and it's funny, they're doing it
using their IP lately.
They're doing it while people are like, "Where's your next system?" And they're still releasing banger after banger.
Like, this game is going to be so like. I think people are going to really like this game.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. September 27th, we have Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports.
Huh?
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of sports mini games with Looney Tunes characters.
Sure.
I'm a skip, but just thought I'd mention that's coming out.
I've been asking for this for years.
Yeah, you have.
Right?
I know you have. All right, guys. Last but not least, September 30th, Starfield Shattered Space. I'm day one.
Day one. Like, I might stop everything I'm doing to get a save ready for like this DLC. So
yeah, I'm absolutely day one. I gotta figure out, okay, what do I do with my new game plus situation? Do I need to figure out, like, get some old, like, reload some old save before I like, what do I have to do to play this DLC? But yeah,
they're taking the most interesting part of the game that wasn't explored and like exploring it. So
Yep.
I didn't even finish like my first playthrough of it, so I have to eventually do that. And then I'll get to this.
So you're at least a wait and see, maybe a skip.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will circle back around to it. Yeah, I just never actually got around to, like, but I pumped like a good 50 hours into that, 60 hours.
Yeah, recall you putting quite a bit of hours into it.
Yeah, September is a busy month. Lots happening and lots to be excited about. So there you go. A lot of money to spend, apparently. A couple of highlights from headlines this week. We'll wrap up the headline section with the Nintendo stuff. First and foremost, this is never a good sign for a movie. The Borderlands movie is already getting a digital release 3 weeks after its cinema release. I don't know if you guys heard that movie's not good. That's
I could tell the second they announced this project it wasn't going to be good. So
yeah, and the way it was like weirdly like delayed and not talked about, but like
and then it was silently PG-13, even though originally like was like R-rated. Our movie is like this whole movie fell apart.
It did fall apart.
So whatever.
And then right alongside it, you had a rated R Deadpool and Wolverine that just crushed it.
Oh,
maybe you shouldn't just try to target the tweens, and you should make the movie you should make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
so many stars in that movie. Like, you wasted a lot of people's time.
Oh, for big time.
Huge names, yeah.
But hey, they got paid, you know, so whatever.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah.
Foam Stars is officially going free to play, and I got to tell you, if you would have asked me, I would have probably argued with you that it's already free to play.
It's not free to play. I thought the game. No. I'm not being. Like,
if you go to get it right now, it's $30.
Shut up.
It's $30.
God damn it. We got it. Sony's got to be stopped, guys. We gotta. Something's
they're just allowing studios to be. They're gonna get rid of that studio that just made that other game, right? That studio's gonna get.
Concord.
Yeah, that studio's gone, right?
Flopping.
Yeah, like that studio's gonna be gone. Like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Yeah, just in time for the PS5 Pro to come out, we'll have a bunch of nothing to play.
I know.
So that'll be cool.
Although this was Square's fault. In this case, they released Foam Stars, so you know.
Yeah. Was this only on Sony though? Was this a Sony exclusive? Was this another one of those Square Sony exclusives?
The idea was they wanted it to eventually come to Xbox, but it's just had no success. I don't know why they would bother at this point.
No, why would you? Yeah.
Well, kind of in similar news of things not doing super well, and it's not the game's fault, by the way. So Visions of Mana is out. It's getting, I would say, between good and very good reviews, averaging at in the high 70s. But the studio is set to close. They announced the day after it released. This is obviously something they were going to do anyway. They just waited till the game launched to announce it publicly, and I totally get it. They wanted the game to be delivered, and they're also, as part of this, they're going to be keeping remaining staff on who need to oversee the release of any of its final games or updates. So this was already planned. This is something they were already going to do. So for some background, this isn't just a case of, boy, they needed to sell 1,000 million trillion copies, otherwise they're going to close. Nope. NetEase and Tencent, they're two Chinese companies who have been investing a ton in video game companies around the world, including a lot in Japan. They are just reallocating their resources as they determine what to invest in, what not to invest in. And this is all according to a Bloomberg report. But they're both starting to rethink the strategy because it's not bearing any fruit. And so, I mean, they're playing it like a stock market. They're like, okay, this investment's no good. Pull it back and go to this one instead. Yep. They're just moving the pieces around. They don't care what industry it is. They don't care. That's not like they're not concerned about that. This isn't their industry. They're just investors. That's all they are. Right. So part of me is like, well, I can't really fault them for that, but I do fault overall the industry for allowing these kind of
we let the monsters in.
Yeah,
we allowed them in. They knock. They asked if they can come in, and we go, yeah.
And by the way, conspiracy theory. I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat for a second. I think that's why.
Or your tinfoil hat.
My tinfoil hat is on. Okay, that's why I think some of these companies, Sony could be included. I don't know, but some of them are going so hard into either a mobile or free to play or live service game space. I think some investments are, we'll invest if you'll commit to these types of projects because we see those and those make money. So if you'll do that, and then so they go after that and they don't want to.
Sony bought Bungie on the whole prospect of that. You know what I mean? Like, so
I think that has to do with some of the investment funds that have come in across the entire industry. I think a reason you don't see a company like Nintendo with nearly as many of these types of announcements. They've had a few, right? Because the overall industry is not, it is struggling in general, but you don't see the same amounts of like these dramatic announcements. And it's not just because they put out great games. They do, but they also put out some games that aren't all that great. I mean, just like every company does. It's because they're not, in my opinion, they're not allowing these outside investors to.
I think they're keeping it in-house. I think you're right. I think they stay. I think they get their money. They do what you're supposed to do. You take the profits from your last thing that just sold, and you roll it into your next couple projects.
Because now you know your customers, and you want to make more.
Yeah, exactly. And like maybe they're so successful at it because they're working off old, older stuff, so everything's a little cheaper to make. I don't know. Like maybe we can get all into that in another date or whatever. But like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo still has very much control over like what's going on in their bubble,
But they're very wary of their properties, they're very like, hey, has to be like this, and if you try to like deviate, like that's not happening. Like so
they didn't even have a Mario game ready for their big Mario movie, you know what I mean? Like that's how like they weren't even thinking about connecting like those two things at all, so it's Nintendo does their own, they march to the beat of their own drum.
And by the way, that has come back to bite them in some cases for years in a row with the Wii U days and even with the GameCube. Yeah,
they've had plenty of struggles,
Absolutely, and in some cases like almost a full decade of like being in a solid third place. That's
the Wii U days were dark, man. Like it may have only been 3 or 4 years, but
then you'd have like
times.
The Wii and the DS that were just unbelievable, and then it would go to we're at Wii U. Okay,
I forget that even like people like the Nintendo 64 even had a hard time selling.
Like,
whenever Sony came on the screen, but we all like think of Nintendo 64 as this like that was our childhood. That was like there was infallible, but no, it wasn't. Like it struggled to get to where it was like
2-3 games for like how many months? Like there was like no games. Like,
for the longest time you could only play Pilot Wings and Mario 64 on your
and Wave Race.
And Wave Race, which are great games.
I loved Wave Race so much.
That was it for the longest time.
That's right. It sold like a third of what PlayStation 1 sold, I think. Like I don't think it was even close. Maybe less than that. Nintendo's not they're not like unfamiliar with being farther back, when it comes to their competition and their market share, but they just keep on plowing ahead and doing their thing, and they don't necessarily, it doesn't seem to me, maybe they do and we just don't know about it, they don't seem to take the bait on these huge investments, these big outside companies who want to hit you with a big influx of cash, which I understand could sound so appealing. It's like,
oh man, someone walks in the door,
we could acquire studios and we could do all these things, and it's like, but then what happens when the investors go away? Then what happens?
Yeah. Right. Well, once you're in debt, once you owe a lot of your profits to investors, like you're under their thumb. You know what I mean? Like you're not making money back if you owe money to people who invested into your product. Like that. There's only so much pie.
Right.
There's only so much pie.
That's right.
It's just gross.
Now I want some pie.
Gross. I would like some pie.
I can go for some pie. Yeah. So anyway,
less sad.
Well, Dan, I'm curious what you think about this too, because you're kind of our resident Sony pony, the closest thing we have to it. So just because of Just because of the PlayStation.
As a pony just comes
back.
walking behind me, an actual pony. Like that'd be.
Even though all of us use the PlayStation 5 as our primary console, I'm throwing that to you for some dumb reason. Anyway, the mid-gen PlayStation 5 upgrade, there's all these rumors that have been floating around for a while. Now we seem to have some even more substantial rumors around this. There's a specific user who has a lengthy track record for leaking upcoming games and hardware very accurately. And they're saying, hey, the new console is actually going to just be called the PS5 Pro. It's going to be announced actually within the first 2 weeks of September. Probably going to be launching for this holiday. The design looks very similar to the PS5 Slim, with the exception of these 3 stripes that go down the side.
Stripes, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still going to look very much like the Slim. Probably not going to have a disk drive. Same with the Slim, which there was an external option you could buy, like an external drive. You can like an add-on. I think if you already have an add-on, that probably still works with this, I would imagine. Lots of rumors about the power, but the summary, there's so many different numbers being thrown around. The summary seems like the rendering speed could increase as much as 45%. But
I heard it was like, that's the numbers I heard too. Yeah.
Not like necessarily the loading speed or the fidelity or frames per second, like not necessarily that, but like just the rendering speed, which would be great. I think it could look good, especially.
Yeah, I hear the things that help like ray tracing run better, like that will all be like better. Yeah, like that's all going to be like that technology is cheaper now. Whenever the PlayStation 5 came out in 2019, 2020, whenever it was, like that stuff was expensive, so. Yeah. I also heard that this is from Lawrence and Bruce over at Inside Games. They said that at Gamescom, the PS5 was an open secret. Like, meaning that everyone was talking about it, meaning that there were probably people there that saw it behind closed doors, but weren't allowed to talk about it. But it just kind of got out and everyone kind of knew about it. So, like, it was at Gamescom.
Sure.
Quote unquote. You know what I mean? So,
will you guys buy this? Like, Dan, are you interested in this? Do you care about this?
I didn't buy a PS4 Pro. Like, to me, I was just like, I mean, that's cool, but I was at a weird spot where, like, I think I had replaced my regular PS4 because it actually did unfortunately crap the bed with another regular PS4. But then I think maybe sometime after that is when they released the Pro. So I was just like, I'm not upgrading. Yeah, I'm not upgrading. Like, that's pointless. So I mean, the PS5 is like still great to me. Like, it still does amazing things.
The pricing is crazy. Like, they're saying $600 for discless, $700 for disc. 1 terabyte too.
Hey guys,
they didn't even increase the storage. It's 1 terabyte.
$0 for neither one. Like $0.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my PS5 to
the
me
stars would have to align in a really interesting way. Like, my PS5 would have to die. I would still have to get trade-in value for it. I would still, and then only then would I buy like a Pro. And I was joking about this in chat, but like, we just started getting next-gen games. We just stopped making games for PS4 and stopped doing this multi-cross-generational bullshit.
It's not even stopped though. Like, the new Star Wars game just hit.
We need more power. Like, it just, I don't know.
Yeah. But it's the same thing though. Like, the new Star Wars game just launched on last gen too, so it's not really even stopping.
We're not even done yet. Like, these games are still. It makes me. They're putting out the new Jedi Survivor game on PS4. Oh, is that? Oh, I thought you were talking about Outlaws. Okay, sorry.
No, they might do that too. Who knows? But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I have no interest in this right now. If maybe later on someone were to be like, "Hey, check out this Digital Foundry video," you'll be shocked at how much improved X, Y, and Z of the experience.
I would have to run everything at 60 frames with ray tracing, and there better be zero load times, and still, it's a 2 out of 10 chance that I'd get it.
Yeah. Or like some crazy trade-in deal or something where it's like, hey, now you can upgrade for only $100.
But then
all right.
But then I'm also like one of those people that I'm like, then I'm thinking about like, but then I have to like re-download everything on my new system, and I don't feel like doing that unless I literally have to. Like, like Kyle said, it shits the bed.
As like I'm like, oh, I get to rearrange everything. But I don't want to. For $700, I don't want that duty. I don't mind that process, but I'm not going to pay $700.
Oh yeah, I don't mind if I have to do it, but I'm not trading in my PlayStation now to like still pay hundreds of dollars for this new machine and then have to install everything and blah blah blah.
This is who this is for. This is your Apple people who buy every Apple phone every single time there's a new Apple phone. Mm-hmm. There are Sony purchasers who are that, and they are banking. I
still have an iPhone 11, so it's not me.
Yeah, I mean, Sony is banking on your people who are diehard Sony fans who will just buy. I'm going to buy the PSVR 2. I'm going to buy the new racing wheel. I'm going to buy the everything. those are the people who are buying
Derek.
this.
Sure.
Sure.
The luxury purchases.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. So I don't have any interest in this as it stands right now. It remains to be seen if that changes. I don't think so. But it does make me very, very curious what Xbox is going to call theirs, because last generation they did Xbox One X was their upgrade. Now they have the Xbox Series X. Is it going to be just Xbox Series XX? Like, what are they going to do?
XXX. Yeah, it's a triple X. I love that. Yeah.
And it's actually going to have.
So anytime you search for Xbox,
come on the
you pull up Twitter, you pull up pull up porn and Twitter, like everything comes up. Yeah. Couldn't be more confusing.
It's actually wearing a bikini, and then sometimes it just whips them out, and you're like, oh my god, the teraflops, they're flopping.
They're flopping, I'll tell you that.
They're flopping.
Oh my god.
Her name is Tara, and they are flopping.
And by the way,
exactly.
Microsoft, I know you're listening to this because you guys watch our show every week. You brought this upon yourself with all the X's that you include in your name. Okay, it's not us. This is you.
Right.
This is a you problem.
When DMX said X gonna give it to you, they took it too literally. All right, they were like they were just, we're gonna give you all the X's, and DMX like growled at them or something.
You know, in their company meetings, when Phil comes out, that's the music that plays as he walks out to talk to the staff.
That's true.
X gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
Absolutely, the music that plays.
Yeah.
Well, this past week we had a Nintendo Direct, which was an Indie World and a partner showcase, all mixed in one. I'm a little surprised they didn't separate those by a couple weeks, just to kind of like allow the announcements to be the whatever.
They wanted that Gamescom hype. Yeah, I guess they wanted a little bit of.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little bit of a
usually
Gamescom
don't.
week.
I don't know. Usually they're like, whatever. Like we'll do it 2 weeks ahead of everybody. Like they usually again they march to the beat of their own drum. That weird studio.
But here they go. They did it was like a 40-50 minute thing when you combine the two things. There was a lot of stuff to be talked about. So I'll go through some of the announcements. You guys feel free to chime in or interrupt if you feel like I missed something or want to talk about something. Here are some of the notable games, and I'm skipping a lot. There's a lot that I was like, I'm not even writing that down because none of us are going to play it. None of us care about it. But if I missed one, let me know. So we've got a bunch of DLC being added to Balatro called Friends of Jimbo. It's basically just IP crossovers with Witcher 3, Vampire Survivors, Dave the Diver, and Among Us. It's a free update that's out now on Balatro, where you can just get different cards and music and whatever. Just some updates, which is fun for an already pretty fun little game. We got a deeper dive into Neva from the developers of Greece.
Day one.
Comes out October 15th.
Dude, I'm like super excited. Like Greece or Gris, however the hell you pronounce that friggin' game.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Is like unbelievable. Like just the visual marvel of that game.
Looks like more of that.
Just art. Yeah, but really with like pretty. Combat and
with
stuff.
With combat,
really
it's an actual game. Yeah, instead of just jumping.
And the music also just as beautiful. Like, I can't wait for this.
So Neva looked great. So did the DLC, which is free, by the way, coming next year to Sea of Stars, called Throes of the Watchmaker. We saw some really. It's like this kind of creepy carnival where you're fighting like a giant elephant and stuff. Like I don't know exactly what's happening, but it looks really cool.
Yeah,
so
I didn't realize they said they were. They had announced it a while ago. Apparently, I didn't realize that they were going to be making DLC.
Me neither. Yeah, but
it's free and it comes out next year. So there you go. There's some Shrek content coming to Power Wash Simulator, which is hilarious. So you can clean up the swamp.
You say Shrek and I immediately go, ugh. But then you say Power Wash Simulator, I go, oh, okay. That's
okay,
fun. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like anybody who lines up with Power Wash Simulator, I'm kind of like all about. I'm like, what a great marriage.
Final Fantasy VII did it. SpongeBob did
it. I think it's
Warhammer
great.
40K did it. Like
I think that you're just washing power armor. Yeah,
you are. It's like,
that's insane. I love it. I think that's awesome. Good for that whole game.
I love that game, man. I can't explain it. It's just.
You know what? I don't need you to because I get it. You know what I mean?
Power washing in real life is satisfying, right?
Satisfying. Like it's the same feeling when you're scrolling on any kind of reels or YouTube shorts, whatever, and you just see a video of like satisfying things, whether it's like some machine that makes an item like in bulk, and you're like, well, that's kind of cool, or like whatever the thing, or someone who's perfect at painting a stripe on the road, and it goes to the next one, you're like. That was really cool how they did that.
That's really it's just the little things. It's the little things.
The same thing. That's the same vibe that I get from this. All right, Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope DX. I actually don't know if it's coming out in 2025. To me, it looked new. It could be an existing thing or a mobile thing. They've done a lot with this IP that I've missed. Yeah. But this looked cool. Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope DX coming in 2025. There's a 3D platform adventure game called Europa, which at first I was like, but the more I watched it, I was like, all right, this looks pretty cool. Comes out October.
That does look cool.
Looks like a lot of fun. Shout out to everybody Gaston for that one. Looks like a Gaston game, but I think it looks like a lot of fun.
It's very Zelda inspired. It's supposed to be very Zelda inspired.
Okay.
I'm interested in that one.
Right words.
Yeah.
Plucky Squire, of course, we saw a trailer for that. September 17th. Pizza Tower was shadow dropped that day on Switch. It's only previously been just on PC, I think. Maybe it was on a console, but yeah, Pizza Tower, really weird Wario Land like game. Tetris Forever is a compilation of OG game versions of Tetris. Comes out later this year, but it's got all these different old versions of Tetris that you can play, which is super fun. It's funny. I hear the Tetris music and I'm always like, I think I have to poop all of a sudden. Like, I think I pooped too much playing Tetris.
Sure.
It happens. There's this 3D hoverboard action adventure that looks a little bit like, that Hyperlight game that's coming out, a little bit like that other one that was from that same dev where you're skating around a lot or skiing around a lot, called Star Overdrive. Comes out next year.
Okay. I've seen stuff on this. Yeah.
If it doesn't come out exclusively to Switch, it looks like the kind of game that's probably better elsewhere, just because it looks like visually it could be really cool, and Switch is probably not the best place to experience that. But it's coming to Switch. It's going to be a limited time console exclusive, they said, on the Switch in 2025. Goat Simulator 3 was also shadow dropped on Switch. They continue to have just the funniest trailers. They're so stupid. They're so stupid, but I always laugh at them. Kyle, you brought this one up. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, the first, drops in 2025. Now, what is this, a remake, right?
This is a remake. This game was a pixel game. Yeah, this is a pixel game, They are remaking this game. This is huge. This is wildly considered by, the JRPG community to be, one of the greatest, Chrono Trigger levels of greatest RPGs of all time. And I've played and beaten this one. It is the only Trails game besides of Cold Steel 1 that I've beaten. Those are the only two games I've seen all the way through. And this game is awesome. The story's awesome. The twist at the end is excellent. Everything about this game is awesome. So it is, for a lot of people, like getting Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know what I mean? Oh my God, we're getting a fully realized version of this game. It looks so good. The graphics are amazing. I'm very excited for this.
It was just a few weeks ago
that
they were saying.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, they were saying they were going to be, looking into remaking. And I was like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to
really
that.
Far, this game's coming out in a year. This game looks really far.
So it's happening, Kyle.
Yeah, they were sandbagging. Yeah, they were sandbagging.
No, this is like an entry to a series, right? Like this is the first. This is literally a first.
This is the very first one ever, and then all those years later, 20 entries later, here we are. So
many games.
So many.
I never played the Stalker games, but the trilogy is coming to Switch in November. The Legends of the Zone trilogy.
Don't play this on PC, guys. Don't play this game on Switch. Yeah.
I agree. But I never did play those.
It'd be like playing Metro on Switch. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yes, that's a good point. That's
look at the lighting on the Switch. Said nobody ever. So
I never played Stalker, but I did play a lot of Worms Armageddon, and the anniversary edition is coming out at the end of September 26th. Those games are so silly.
Hundreds of hours into Worms Armageddon on N64.
So
hundreds.
Fun. They're so fun. You pick your little accent for your characters, and you name them all.
I would name them movie stars or friends. Yeah. So cool.
Super fun. And then there's a fun multiplayer too. The way you pass the controller off, or just both controllers.
Oh, it's another friendship ruiner where I'm like, I cannot believe you hit me with the holy integrate and killed all of my guys.
Especially when they only have one guy left with no health left, and you've got a guy up above who's just kind of I'm sorry ahead of time.
Yeah.
But then you brag too much and it gets a bad bounce and falls off the stage.
Oh, the amount of times I've killed myself with a banana bomb, man. Yeah, it's never a good time.
So many. Yeah, those games are fun. Finally, Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters are on their way, and we have a specific release date, March 6th of 2025.
Happening, Tim. It's finally happening.
Very
I'm glad
excited.
that these are coming to Switch.
Of course, they were announced about a year and a half ago. We thought we were going to get them about a year ago, and then they delayed it to about 6 months ago.
I don't think they ever gave a date, though.
No, they gave I think they gave a window.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I think they gave a window of time. And then they just kind of went quiet on it. And then I'm so glad that they're still happening. To me, I'm just going to keep it positive. They just worked so hard and diligently on making every little element of this to perfection and quality of life improvements, stuff that I wouldn't even think of when I go back to play it of being a problem. And they're going to make it better for today's audience. And So that's me being very positive about what's taken so long. But here they come, March 6th. Very excited for both.
I can't wait.
Very excited.
I've never really played them, so
yeah, so good. Speaking of bringing old games and making them new again, Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake has a release date of November 14th. Looks gorgeous. So we saw a little bit more.
Thank God, there's nothing coming out in November. So yeah,
yeah, we don't.
There's never anything.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's never anything.
I need a giant 120-hour old school JRPG to take center stage that month, please. Thank you.
That I'm gonna love and not stop playing. That's what
it is. It is considered the best Dragon Age. That's not 8. So, I think this is a lot of people's favorite. So
yeah. Dragon Quest is one of those series that I didn't dive into super deep, but I've played a few of them and I have enjoyed the ones I've played.
That's how I am too. I think I've played like 3 of them, and I'm like, I liked all of those games.
Yeah,
they're good. They're good.
8 and 11 are fantastic. So
yeah, 11's so good, man.
We talked already about the Castlevania Dominus collection that was announced and released the same day, which was really cool. Civilization 7 will be coming to Switch on February 11th. Which is
the fact
cool.
that you could like pile that all onto the Switch is so crazy to me.
Yeah, to me that's like if you're a Civ fan, which I've never really gotten into those games, but I understand if you do, like you can spend years
that is your only game.
That could be your only game.
That is a lot of people's like
and
one
so
and only.
I think it's so cool to have that on a small system like the Switch and just have it on the go because you can that can be your main game. That can be it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
They did a quick sizzle reel for a whole bunch of other 2024 games, including Epic Mickey Rebrushed, Tales of the Shire, Just Dance, Funko Fusion, and Lego Horizon Adventures. They consider all those 2024 games, but none of them had specific release. Oh, that's not true. Not all of them had specific release dates. Like Lego Horizon Adventures still just says holiday, so we still don't know. I'm going to guess that's a December game. I don't know. The companies seem less afraid of December these days, by the way. Something about the digital release of games.
I was shocked to see Indiana Jones is coming out in December. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They used to be kind of a kiss of death, But
there's a couple of December games now.
I think you're right. I think people just kind of like, it's just a month. Let's just put games out there.
Yeah. I think the first couple of weeks of December is kind of nice, actually.
I do too. A lot of people have not finished Christmas shopping by then. I think the idea of like buying everything on that one day that everyone else buys stuff is insane.
Right.
I think plenty of people procrastinate.
Yeah, there were a couple so we got Marvel Rivals, which I know that's not necessarily our thing, but that's a pretty major game.
A hero shooter
comes out December 6th. We've got Indiana Jones, like you mentioned, and I feel like there was one other one that I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah. All right, moving on. We had this one was so there was Yakuza Kiwami's coming out October 24th on the Switch.
Cool.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah. Please play that game anywhere else. But if this is your only way to play it, just play it. Who cares?
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
it is cool.
It's coming to Switch. I'm sure they're testing the waters to see, because they have a bunch of those games that are on older platforms that probably wouldn't be too hard to port to the Switch.
Drop the whole collection on there. Yeah, easily.
Outside of the newest ones, you probably could, right?
Yeah.
But then they revealed a new Rune Factory, which looks so different from Rune Factory. I mean, you still do the farming, you still have the relationships and can get married and all that stuff, that life farming sim stuff, but it's got a much more in-depth action RPG vibe to it. Very anime centric, of course. It's called The Guardians of Azuma, and it showed a bunch of gameplay. They talked about it a lot. Comes out in 2025.
I threaten to play these games all the time. I've never played one. Maybe this is the one.
I really got into 2 on the DS. I played a ton of Rune Factory 2. A lot. Cool. I like that.
They tend to lean more in like the kind of like either chibi or just kind of like smaller proportioned characters, and this just looks like kind of like a straight up like anime. Yeah,
good. Yeah. I'm not always a chibi or chibi guy, so
it does look more serious compared to some of the other ones.
Cool.
Although my time with Rune Factory 2, it felt to me like a more serious. It didn't feel like Harvest Moon that everything's bright and sunshiny and like cozy. It felt a little more like, hey, things are trying to kill you.
Right.
So it felt a little darker, but
cool.
So there you go. There were your Nintendo Indie World and Partner Showcase announcements of note. Pretty cool stuff. I was excited to see that. It was a nice show. All right, let's wrap things up with stuff that we're currently playing, or if there's anything you want to highlight that you're watching. A couple minutes each. We'll throw it to you first, Kyle. I know that you've been out a little bit. What have you been playing that we haven't talked about yet?
Not much really. I was playing and beat after my Samurai Warriors 4 thing. I went back and played Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. Insert 17 more title phrases here.
Sure.
Very, very fun. I don't know. Those games and I'm playing that on Switch. It's just so easy to pick that up and just play real quick. I also was playing the other Trails from Zero game on Switch. So that's the game that came out last year. It's Trails from Zero and Trails into Azure are the Crossbell, games or whatever. I wanted to get my foot in the door to see if I liked it. Yeah.
I like it.
I like these games a lot. Jesus, they've been around so long, and I just, it's just dragging my feet to them. So that's been a lot of fun. But those are kind of the only couple things I was playing for a bit. And I won't spend too much time on this stuff either. But watching wise, I went and saw Aliens Romulus. That one's really good. I like Aliens movies. Go watch that. It's very gross. Very spooky.
I heard that the tall, skinny thing that was actually a Romanian basketball player for real.
Yeah.
I
saw something about that.
He's super tall and
they went practical,
skinny.
Which is awesome.
Everything is very practical in this. They spent so much money on making
some
this movie
CGI
look like a 1970s. Yeah, very, very small. Sure. Yeah. But they had a guy in a suit, in a rubber suit, playing the alien. Right. They really went throwback with it, and if you like Alien, you're gonna love this movie. Very, very good. They got the Prey treatment. Prey came out, everyone liked Prey.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a Hulu movie just like that, and this director was like, "No, I went on the big screen. I think people are gonna like it." This movie did really well in the theaters.
Nice,
good movie.
Nice.
Anyways, I'm also watching the Rings of Power show. The first 3 episodes dropped. Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings. It's fun. It's fine.
Lord of the Rings.
Good. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Lord of the Rings.
It's a really hot topic. Everyone wants to it's fine. Yeah, it's this is a fantasy show that looked like $1 billion was put into it. So
right.
I think the internet is unanimously loving it with no issues. Is what I've seen.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. That's true of Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, all of it.
Dude,
love it. Yeah.
What the hell is that new Acolyte? That whole Jesus Christ, that whole thing's a mess.
Yeah, a bit of a mess.
Hey, guys, guess what? The mess is over. So we don't.
It is. Yeah.
Literally, it literally is. Yeah.
Whatever quiets people. And also, I forgot to bring it up in our Star Wars Outlaws talk. I love Sabacc. We know how bad I am at in-game card games. I am so good at Sabacc. It's crazy.
There you go.
It's insane how good I am at this game. I hope there's an online mode where I can play people like that.
I hope you have a chance to win the Millennium Falcon. With
Me too. Yeah, that'd be so cool. Anyways, I forgot. I was remiss to bring that up. I sat for 4 hours earlier playing high stakes Sabacc games, and it was I was using Nyx to cheat. It was awesome. I loved it.
Getting away with it.
Yeah. That's basically all I've been doing. I've been on a trip for the last week, so I didn't get a lot of gaming in. But the stuff I did get was a good time.
You went on a rad trip, which is really
it was all right.
It was okay. Just slept right by the edge of the Grand Canyon. No big deal.
Yeah, really totally on the edge. If the tree fell over, I would have fallen into the Grand Canyon. So. Yeah.
All right, for my quick hits, I already talked about the demos that I played. I played a few of those this week. The highlight was definitely Epic Mickey Rebrushed. So cool looking. And the music, by the way, is beautiful.
So glad people are going to get the chance to play this game. I think that's.
I had never played the one on the Wii, and I'm sure they did great. The music was great then too, but I can tell that they've either remastered or re-recorded. I can't tell what they did, but the music is so good, and it's these kind of remixes, kind of a creepy take on very familiar Disney songs that they weave into it. I'm just like, man, this is Kingdom Hearts level of production value, and it's just really, really good. So,
cool.
So I played that, and in addition to other demos, and loved it. But 2 games that I've been playing a lot of, actually, less Black Myth Wukong than I wanted to, but I did play a little more of it. The game is harder than I thought.
It's tough.
So it is a tough game. But it is super pretty. It runs wonderfully on this new PC that I've got up and running, which is great. So it looks so good. I actually, guys, I got to tell you something. I have to admit something. I did notice a difference when I bumped it up to 120 frames per second compared to 60. I did.
You lying?
I was like,
I mean,
to To be fair,
you double 60.
You probably
yeah.
So I kept it. I'm playing at 1440p. That's my screen. I'm not trying to like do anything crazy in 4K. So I have a lot of performance space that this new PC is allowing me. And so I just bumped it all. Actually, my screen is 144 refresh rate. So I went up to 144, and I was just like, I don't think I've ever seen anything this buttery smooth. Like, it was unbelievable.
Sure.
So. Sure. That was really awesome. So anyway, The game's good. I'm not good at it. So that might change. I'm going to keep working at it. I didn't give it a ton of time. Maybe play an extra hour or so.
Have you gotten to a bot, like the first boss at least, or a couple bosses?
Not the major boss, but I've done probably, I think, like
game
3.
Bosses?
There's a lot of bosses.
It's full of bosses. Yeah, there's like 91 or something.
They try to get away from the Souls-like moniker, and they're like, we're a boss rush game. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I've done a few of them. Most notably, I did the there's a guy right outside the temple who has like fire staff that he's spinning around. So like that was one of the first ones. There's a big like walking green baby looking thing.
Yep, the bald monk thing with a tail.
Which kicked my butt so many times.
That's like the first one that you come across. You're like, what is even?
It reminds me of the Erdtree Knight that you're not supposed to mess with in Elden Ring until you come back. It reminded me of that because I read something later. It was like, hey, we recommend that you continue to explore and get farther along, then come back to this guy because.
Well, I didn't do that. I was stubborn and I beat him eventually, but it took a few tries. So
I'll get in a good roll, and then some of his dumb spin moves or his jump attack that hits faster than you think. It can one-shot me if I have any health missing at all. So anyway.
Well, he does like a force push too, which like you have to time the dodge, and it's like, well, you can't see, you can kind of just see the ripple, but
yeah. So anyway, game's gorgeous. I love what they're doing. I'm not super good at it, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep playing. I'm kind of on the fence about like how important is this to me right now. I'm playing Outlaws, and I don't know how much I care about it at the moment, even though I do really like it and I admire a lot what they're doing. It might be a game that
when everyone started talking about how hard it was, I'm like, I don't.
It's super tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough. But last but not least, I'm spending so much time playing No Man's Sky.
Yes.
Such a good game. Like
Born again.
Looking back at 2016, the game that it is now, it might be my favorite game from 2016.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Look at you with your physical copy.
There it is.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, buddy. So I'm not going to spoil what happens. I had never gotten to the end of the main storyline, and I know they've tweaked some things and the experience along the way with all their updates.
Okay.
But I ended up having some big decisions to make in this narrative they're telling, which I didn't really think was a thing. And I was like, oh.
Really?
Oh, I actually have to like make a choice here. It's like this key pivotal choice, and then you have to make multiple ones. One has to do with another character, and you choose their fate.
Once you realize,
yeah,
there's
what?
Yeah, there's NPCs that you're helping. You're trying to find, and then you realize like why you can't find them. I'm trying not to give too much away because it actually is an interesting oh, this is what No Man's Sky is. This is like, oh, this was like there's a core like.
Is there like a story like that?
Yeah.
Like, what?
There's like
now it's all the man's sky. There's not No Man.
There's a reason that you're a traveler, and what No Man's Sky is, what the universe is, what the characters are, and what decision you get to make in it. Why do you get these mysterious messages as a traveler? Why Atlas cares about you and is talking to you? Who Atlas is? And so, like, as those pieces come together, I was like, oh crap, this is actually a pretty solid, not amazing, don't get me wrong, but a pretty solid sci-fi story they've pieced together. And when you get to they say go to the center, but anyway, you just have to travel until you unlock enough things to then use a portal to then go make the final game decision. Like, here's the things I'm going to do. So again, without trying to give too much away, I hadn't done that before. I thought I had
never
gone to the center before, but
I got to the center in vanilla, and back then it was the game just started over.
Okay, so it's kind of it is kind of that, but I won't say exactly what it is. Sort of that, but anyway, you get to choose. You can always go back to your old, locations. Like if you've got a base set up, you can always teleport back, so you don't lose anything. But then you get to choose what kind of galaxy you want to start in from there. And so you have 5 choices, and you can either pick like an empty one that has hardly anything, and it's like a survival mode. It's really hard. You can pick one that's super aggressive, where there's lots of combat. You can pick one that's I think it's mostly space combat stuff. I don't know. There's a bunch of different choices, and one of them is green, and it's just a lush galaxy which has hundreds of thousands of systems with their own planets that are all they're much higher chances of there being tons of fauna and flora with beautiful vistas, great places for bases. So I picked that one, and the first planet I landed on, best looking planet I've ever seen in No Man's Sky.
Cool.
With grass blowing in the wind and these dinosaurs walking around. They were all friendly dinosaurs. I was like, dude, this is like I landed on Paradise. And by the way, they do have Paradise planets that you can find. You have a very low percentage chance of finding a Paradise planet that does have like perfect weather. You don't need any hazard equipment. Like you're totally safe to walk around there. But anyway, this game freaking rules. I got to tell you this too. There's been so many updates. I didn't realize all the systems that are in place, including shipbuilding. I have this really awesome ship I built, a S-class ship. Ooh. So the shipbuilding is amazing. Every ship that you find and claim, you can turn in for money or parts and then craft your own ships out of. So that part's really, really fun. But they also have these settlements that you get. You start getting attacked by sentinels, and then you get a whole new quest line from this guy who wants to figure out why the sentinels are attacking you. So you get all these other quest lines. My favorite one, though, is if you travel to a pirate-controlled system, most of the time you'll come upon a dreadnought, this massive Star Destroyer-looking thing. I don't know if you guys have seen these or not.
I have, yeah.
And they're attacking.
You can get those, right? Like
yes, they're attacking civilian freighters, and you have all these things on the top, like, "Hey, civilian freighter shields are down to 80%. Like, get going." So you do essentially trench runs along this massive dreadnought to take off its shields, take out its engines in the back, take out its fuel cells, and then you cripple it. You can go inside and either take control of it. That's now yours. You can control it, or you can just destroy it and get a big reward for it if you don't want.
So cool.
Keep it.
So
And if you don't like that one, like I got a couple C-class ones showed up. I warped back to a different system, then right back in. It restarted the fight, and it randomly generates potentially a better ship. So now I have a B-class for mine now.
So you just keep recycling back in.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, let me see what I'm gonna.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
So, dude, there's just so many systems in this game that have just really, really impressed me, and it plays really well. The combat's actually pretty fun. Like I found the shooting to be fun. I've upgraded my guns to the point where as a third person or first person shooter, it plays really well. So I'm having an absolute blast with it, man. Like what a good game. Such a good game.
Yeah. I will get back into that game one day. I will. I have to. Like it's
a sci-fi nerd's dream game now. Like it truly is.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Tim last week, Kyle, that like I had just forgotten. I actually traded in because I had it physical when it came out. I bought it vanilla, and I actually had the collector's edition. Shame on me because it was a nice hardcover case with it too. Yeah. But I had to rebuy it, which now obviously I have. But because I thought I had it and I didn't, so I was like, shoot. But yeah. So
forgot to mention, I also built my first underwater base, and you have your whole Nautilus submarine. You can float around. Some of the planets have like full deep sea areas with hardly any land. It's all underwater. So I added a water landing feature to my ship, so now I can just land and hover over the water, hop out, summon my submarine, go around.
Summon my submarine.
I built a underwater base, and it's got like vertical or horizontal doorways to the next sections that you add on.
That's amazing.
This game is insane.
So like with glass, like you could see out into the and like fish are swimming by. Like, dude, come on. Come on. That's crazy.
Come on.
That's crazy.
So yeah, anyway, I know sometimes it's exhausting to hear when any of us get locked into a game for like weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. This is mine for sure. But
this game is no longer trash.
Dude, it really isn't. It's so good. Like it has no business being this good, but everything about it is so fun. The upgrades are so satisfying. Man, I'm just having so much fun with it. And even though I did the main storyline, I just now feel like, okay, now I really want to dive into base building. I got these amazing new planets to explore, and I just want to build like incredible bases on there now. And I want to go full Valheim on this thing and just start building.
Heck yeah.
You said the word.
I did.
The magic word.
I said it. So anyway. All right, Dan, wrap us up. What are you playing? What are you watching?
Actually, before have you actually ever come across someone else's planet? Because I mean, it is technically all shared, right? Like other people.
Oh yeah. And by the way, when you get to like the Anomaly, for example, which is kind of a central hub where you see players running around all the time, you see their ships and stuff.
Oh, okay.
You can warp to other players' planets. I'm not sure how they get approved for that, but like you can go see their bases. There's like community favorites and stuff. You can warp there and just explore it and see their planet,
cool.
see their base.
Okay.
So there is a ton of like community building stuff they've added in for sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know how connected that had like progressed.
I've gone and looked at a few of them and I'm like, okay, this is insane. Whoever built this is crazy.
Yeah, this is like an architect. This is straight up an architect.
Yeah,
built
because like my base consists of like 4 floors, walls, and a roof with a couple of the essential crafting things. Like I didn't really put any effort. It's just that the ugly box is my base right now. So yeah.
Hey, it's your ugly box, Tim.
It's my ugly box, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't have much either because this week I was trying to focus on Star Wars so I could make sure to speak to it. Yeah. But Kyle, I don't know if you had heard, I finished Alan Wake 2.
Oh,
finished Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
What a mind effer that game is.
Yeah, Dan said he totally understands all of it, and he could explain
100%.
Yeah, I cannot 100%. Wait to hear your breakdown. Go ahead, Dan. We got time.
Well, it was a shame. It was a shame because like apparently I was like probably about 70% of the way through when I took an 8-month break from the game. Yep. So I finished the last 30%, and I was definitely like, I don't know who that person is. I don't know who that person is, but for the most part, like, you know, it was fine. But yeah, like that game is just so rad, dude. That game is rad.
The best. Yeah.
And beautiful. The game is beautiful. Jesus.
Yeah, well deserving of all the praise from last year for sure.
But I finished that, and then I went back into Dragon's Dogma 2. Finally, I circled back around to Dragon's Dogma 2. So I was playing a bunch of that before Wukong came out. So then I was playing Wukong, and then Star Wars came out. So now I'm playing Star Wars. I think I could probably finish Wukong before the other two. Like Dragon's Dogma 2 and Star Wars are obviously the longer games. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'll shift my focus right back to Wukong and try to finish that. But I do want to finish Dragon's Dogma 2 because like that game is just so good. It's ridiculous.
Man, you can get so distracted in that game. Like,
you know, and that's the thing. It's got that again, that whole Zelda thing of just like, what's that over there? And you just go over there and you're like, I just spent like 3 hours walking in that direction and like coming across some system of this cave system. And there's like a freaking, lion, with the snake tail thing in there, and I'm fighting it, and it's awesome. But yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 is so rad. But I definitely want to make sure I finish that, but. Yeah. Other than that, I started Final Fantasy 4. I finished my challenge run of Stellar Blade on stream. So I did it. Nice. It was excruciating, but I did it. It was really difficult. But I did that. So now I'm back on.
All that training paid off.
It did. I'm a pro gamer. I'm actually a pro gamer. So, but I started Final Fantasy 4. So I'm excited. To do the back half of these pixel remasters, because like 4, 5, and 6 are like those are the ones. Like of all 6 of them, like these are the ones. So I'm really excited because 4 is of the pixelated ones my favorite. So I'm curious to see like when I finally finish it, because I've actually never finished 4. I got super far, never finished it. Same with 6. I got super far, never finished it. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see if my rankings move around. Like, oh, maybe I actually do like 6 more, or actually maybe 5 gets ahead and is actually I like that one even more. So we'll see.
Nice.
But yeah,
6 I just bought on my Switch, so I'm actually going to be playing that one soon as well. So
there you go.
Good. It's so good.
6 is the best. I was letting Dan talk, but 6 is the best.
6 is the best one.
Listen, no, I love 4. I'm so just Josh, and I love 4. 4 is awesome. Yeah, 4
needs more love. Yes,
the Dragon,
Kane.
The game rocks.
Cecil and Kane. Yeah.
The game rocks so hard.
And it's just like when you think about like you go from 1 to 2 to 3, and then you get to 4, and you're like, whoa, like this is crazy. Yeah.
They're on a different level of storytelling. By the
time
This is so much more focused. It ushered
in the era of where Final Fantasy became known about stories.
Right. Because with the other ones, you're like, I mean, because in 2 you technically have named characters, but there's like not a lot of dialogue. I mean,
there's a lot of like, there's a crystal and we got to get it, and it's going to abolish the evil, and like 1, 2, and 3 are kind of all like 3's like, but the crystals, but with costumes, like it's just they're all like. But it's the
1.0 of Final Fantasy 5 because it's the job system a bit more fleshed out.
Yeah.
Versus 1, because in 1 you just have the 5. that you can choose between. But then you get to 5 and you're like, you have like all these choices for like the job system, which is why I think 5 like deserves quite a bit of love too, because 5 is really like breezy and really cool.
See, 5 I need to go back to because like I almost don't remember anything about that game, to be honest, except for the classes. Yeah.
Well, because it wasn't as like accessible. Because I mean, it didn't originally come out here in the States,
right?
Until I don't know if it was the anthology on PS1. I don't know if that was the very first time that was available here in the States. But now that it's just
Chrono Trigger with that one, right? Wasn't that?
Well, so I think
they did. I feel like anthology. One of the Final Fantasy anthologies included like something.
There was another one, yeah, but this one is Final Fantasy Anthology. It's got the gross little sticker on it. 'Cause obviously, I got this in but it's got 6 and 5 on it.
Just 5 and 6. Okay.
Yeah, so I think this might have been the first time that it was available here in the States, but
For 5, you mean?
5, yes, 5.
I thought 5 was here as 2 at one point.
No, that was 4.
So 4 was here as 2. Yeah,
4 was Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah, 6 was 3. Okay.
So Final Fantasy, the actual like proper, the actual proper Final Fantasy 2, 3, and 5 didn't come here originally. So we got 1, 4, and 6.
Nice.
Which annoyingly, people will still like. You know, when you say Final Fantasy 4, like when I'm on Twitch and I'm in a chat somewhere and I mention Final Fantasy 4, some dumb asshole has to be smarmy and be like, "Oh, you mean Final Fantasy 2?"
Shut up! You're the worst kind of human being. Shut up!
It's like, listen, I get that's what it was called, but like we've figured this out now. Like they're numbered properly. We know what they are. Stop being an idiot.
That's like being like, well, Mario 2 is a real Mario game, and no one can tell me otherwise. You know, it's like, no, it's a Doki Doki game. Like you're wrong. Like.
Sure.
We're dumb Americans. They don't trust us. You know, like
no, they don't. Like, don't tell them. Just call it 2.
They'll buy whatever. Just make them Mario characters.
It's like that old Jim Gaffigan bit where he's like, "How dumb do I think these Americans are? I think we could sell those idiots water." It's the French people over there selling us water from the Alps or whatever. All right, cool. It. Well. Listen, lots of good games are out right now, even more to come. So September is going to be a fun one, and I'm looking forward to covering these games together. But until then, thank you all for watching, listening. Thank you, too, for being here. Appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.